1 minute until airtime.
Okay, so you want me to? Yeah, just have somebody else. Okay. Lori, I'm gonna call upon you to stand there for sure. She needs something. Yep. Presentation.
Oh, okay.
Skylar is about to turn 12, and she's planned the biggest celebration of the year. But in the middle of the party, something mysterious happens. All of the adults suddenly vanish. The 5th grade students from Seabreeze Elementary Drama Club will now perform a song from the musical of the same name. The most epic birthday party ever.
And so it was, the entire story of Skylar's epic birthday party. The dramatic twists and turns and a final revelation that kids have the power to take care of themselves, even if it always isn't that easy.
Embrace the relationships you have with those close to you.
And always be nice to those who show up at your birthday party. Well, it was great working with you. And with you. The pleasure was mine. Wow, you've really got a great voice for this type of work.
Well, thank you. Maybe we should do this again sometime.
Let's just wrap this up.
The end.
At this time, I would like to call the June 5th, 2018 regular meeting for the Duval County School Board to order. Let's give another hand to the drama club from the Seabreeze Elementary School. civility still exists. And we would like to thank the Seabreeze Drama Club under the direction of Miss Nakarato and Technical Director, Mr. Nakarato. And did I say that halfway right? You did. You did a wonderful job. Thank you. Thank you. The school board of the Duval County School District is now convened in its regular monthly meeting. To everyone present and to our television viewers, I wish to extend a warm welcome to this meeting of the Duval County School Board. The vision statement of the Duval County School Board states, "Every student is inspired and prepared for success in college or a career and life." The mission statement of the Duval County School Board is to provide educational excellence in every school, in every classroom, for every student, every day. The Duval County School Board is here tonight to listen to reports from district staff and to set policy for the district that will improve student achievement. We will also address budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and other business items that require a vote of the board. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. It is not the role of the board to make managerial or operational decisions. The board has policies and procedures in place to assist the superintendent in resolving management and operational issues. If items appear to move quickly, it is because the board meets in an agenda committee meeting prior to the board meeting for an in-depth review of all agenda items. The committee meeting for the July 9th, 2018 school board meeting will be held on June 19th, 2018 at 9 a.m. and the public is invited to attend. As a show of courtesy and respect to each other, we ask that all mobile phones be turned off and that no flash photography be used during the meeting. For those wishing to address the board during our public comments portion of the board meeting, please note we will accept speaker cards until 6:20 p.m. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in the operation of the Duval County School District. Board members, I invite you to stand for the opening message given tonight by Nancy Bronner, Executive Director of One Jacks and former school board, Duval County School Board member. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in a reflection. We're here tonight because we care about the education of all of our young people. We're here tonight because we believe that every child has the right to a high-quality education. And we're here tonight to support this school district as you all work to create opportunities for every student. You serve a diverse constituency, diverse in cultures, races, identities, religions, and worldviews. At One Jacks, we believe that we can be different together. Where some see separate groups of people with separate identities, we see opportunities for unity. Where some see hate and behave selfishly with little regard for others, we see opportunities for love, sharing, and kindness. We believe that we can agree to disagree, that we can discuss our differences civilly, and that we are enriched when we listen to others who don't look like us, think like us, or worship as we do. In honor of the rich diversity in our community, and in seeking strength outside of ourselves, let us pause for a moment of silence to reflect on the values of respect, equality, and dignity. Thank you.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we will have the presentations from Waterleaf Elementary with Principal Lisa Brady Hewitt, District 7, Board Member Grimes. Ms. Hewitt.
Good evening, Madam Chairman. Good evening, honored board members. Thank you, Board Member Grimes, for inviting me here to highlight our school. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa Brady, and I am the very proud principal of Waterleaf Elementary School. And I believe this works, but I'm not sure. How's it work? Oh, there we go. So Waterleaf Elementary is located, for those of you that don't know, on Kernan Boulevard North, a little bit north of Atlantic. We opened in the year 2011, so we were one of the newest schools in the county, and we have just completed our 7th year. In that time, we have grown from just over 400 students to now just under 800. We employ 105 faculty and staff, and our student population ranges from students in pre-K 3 all the way to 5th grade. What I'd like to share with you this evening is goes right along with what Ms. Bronner just said, and is the incredible diversity of Waterleaf Elementary School. Within our walls, we serve boys and girls who are all very unique. Our students are from different countries. They speak several different languages. Some are military children, some are tall, some have purple hair, some are in the school play. Some love to read, and believe it or not, some actually love to do math, which I think is amazing. As you can see from some of these pictures that I have here, we choose to have a lot of fun while we learn so that our students don't even realize that they're learning, but they are, and we believe in elementary school that we should also be making memories. While academics are certainly our priority, experiences are what make memories, and we choose to do that with our beautiful children that we have. I think that what I am most proud of is the fact that we have created a space where inclusion is the norm. Every child's uniqueness is celebrated and embraced. By doing that, we have created a place where children feel very safe to take risks and are excited to learn every day. And I do believe that Waterleaf Elementary is quite a special place. That is just my very quick presentation. If I do have a moment, I would like Dr. Willis to take a moment to personally thank you for everything you've done this year for us. And I would like you to know that you've created a culture of caring, and you've reminded all of us that we are here for the children. I appreciate that, and when you ask us if the children are well, I will be able to tell you at Waterleaf Elementary they are certainly very well. Thank you very much. I hope you all have a very lovely evening. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hewitt. Before you leave, Ms. Hewitt. Before you leave, I'm certain Board Member Grimes would like to say something.
Thank you very much. I think there are a lot of people that don't know that Waterleaf exists. And even though we have, 5 or 6 schools on Kernan, some people don't know what your real gem and what you produce and your kids and the diversity. And it was, how's your tree doing?
Our new tree that we I looked at it yesterday because all the rain, and it's actually blooming. So
okay,
yeah, it survived.
Well, that was Miss Ashley, Miss Ashley idea, but it was really fun to come out and do that with your kids. So we appreciate everything you do. I know things are challenging at times, and you'll do it very well. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Hewitt. Yes, Ms. Pierre. As Ms. Pierre is going to start, we have a slight change. We're going to ask the superintendent, Dr. Willis, to make the following presentations along with board member Vice Chair Lori Hershey.
So for our first presentation, we ask you to join us on a 50-year journey and go back with us to 1968. It was the year that the first Big Mac was served. The Beatles released their hit song, Hey Jude, and gas only cost 34 cents a gallon. But here in North Florida, our school district experienced history in the making. 4 relatively new high schools received accreditation for the very first time, and they've each maintained that accreditation continuously 50 years strong. They're Duncan Fletcher High School, Westside High School, Samuel Wolfson High School, and William Marion Rains Senior High School. This all comes through Advanced Ed Performance Accreditation, and joining us now with some celebratory remarks is their Associate State Director and former DCPS Administrator, Ken Manuel.
To the members of the board, Superintendent Willis, and to the honored administrative staff and teachers of these 4 schools being recognized tonight. I'm especially honored to be included in this recognition ceremony tonight to recognize Fletcher, Rains, Westside, and Wolfson Senior High Schools for their 50 years of accreditation and the unwavering commitment they have shown to creating a world of opportunities for every one of the students in the past 50 years. These schools join a very select group of advanced ed schools in celebrating the exemplary commitment to continuous improvement that institutions around the world have joined with advanced ed to champion for over a century. I would also like to extend warm welcome to the current and former principals who have been instrumental in leading the ongoing accreditation of these 4 schools. We thank you for your commitment to continuous improvement. As you know, this district, and if you didn't know, you know it now, this district is preparing for another important milestone this fall, when the entire school system is once again going to be visited by an engagement review team from Advanced Ed. Accreditation is pivotal in leveraging educational quality and implementing a continuous improvement process that helps schools and school districts confront the many challenges that they face. The road to educational excellence may be long and winding at times, but through it all, whether it was Southern Association of Colleges and Schools or Sachs-Cassie or Advanced Ed, the schools we are recognizing tonight have embraced the continuous improvement process and exhibit the determination and resilience to propel their students forward. Being an advanced ed accredited school demonstrates their dedication to prepare students for what lies beyond their schools. It also demonstrates their willingness to invite advanced ed into the schools as a third party, reviewing, providing valuable insight in how their school meets a set of rigorous standards. The schools recognized here tonight have undergone this process continually for 50 years and are better as a result. Each of these principals that are going to be standing before you in a few minutes and the schools that they serve have been a part of the history of recognizing that they serve not just the students, but their commitment to their communities that they are part of each and every day. They have willingly opened up their doors to us as Advanced Ed and accepted our feedback and recommendations. All of the educational and administrative staff members of these schools, both past and present, should be proud as they collectively have been instrumental in ensuring their students are prepared for the 21st century. As we celebrate this outstanding milestone tonight, I want to take this opportunity to thank this school governance board for creating the policies and the support practices that ensure effective administration of the Duval County Public School System and its schools every day, in every school, and in every classroom. And finally, on behalf of Dr. Mark Elgart, the CEO of Advanced Ed, Dr. Pat Wentz, who is the state director, and myself, I want to thank you for allowing the Advanced Ed to travel on this accreditation and continuous journey with your schools and this school system. Again, congratulations to these 4 outstanding schools, and thank you so very much for allowing me to come back home to say a few nice words about it. Thank you.
Tonight, we welcome both current and past principals of these 4 high schools, and we begin with Duncan Fletcher High School. Leading this group is current principal Dean Ledford, and joining him this evening are these former principals. They're Mr. Dalton Epting, Layla Musa, Elaine Mann, Dane Gilbert, and Mr. Don Nelson. Congratulations.
That's me.
We now recognize Westside High School. Leading this group is current principal Dr. Gregory Bostick. Joining him are the following former principals. They're Mr. Ron Papel, Mr. Walter Carr, and Mr. David Gilmore. Congratulations.
I've been around so long, I know all these people.
We now recognize William Marion Raines Senior High School. Current principal Dr. Vincent Hall is here with his administrative team. That's assistant principals Anthony Scarlett, Brandy Stallings, and Brian Ellis. Joining them are the former principals Carol Daniels, Nangongama Majova Siani, and George Maxey. Congratulations. Finally, we recognize Samuel Wolfson High School. The current principal is Christopher Begley, and the following former principals are here this evening, Mr. J. Fred Christman and Terrence Connor. Congratulations. With our next presentation, we honor 24 of our most recent graduates, all recipients of a $1,500 scholarship. The Senior Scholarship Award comes courtesy of Chartwell's Thompson K-12 Services, the district's food services provider. It only seemed appropriate that students were prompted to submit essays centered around health and nutrition, specifically whether they felt the government has a role in managing childhood obesity. This is the 9th year Chartwell's Thompson has awarded this scholarship, with these recipients chosen out of a pool of over 100 applicants. Joining us with these students are Chartwell CEO, Belinda Oakley, Vice President of Operations in DCPS, Jane Buttermore, Regional Director of Operations in DCPS, Will Ratley, and our Don Nelson. And these are this year's recipients: James Braxton, Joshua Brown, Charisma Daniel, Xavier Davis, Michaela Edwards, UC Espanol Rinkin, Leah Grady, Daniel Johnson, Victoria Laws, Dara Lewis, Joshua Lewis, Whitney Lewis, Christopher Lewis, Christina Lopez, Ian McNone, Fook Pham, Janisa Phillips, Kaylee Porter, Nicholas Smith, Savannah Sturm, Lydia Thomas, Brenton Thompson, Destiny Vincent, and Cy Wilkerson. Congratulations. For our next presentation, imagine the surprise and honor these teachers felt when they received an unannounced in-classroom visit revealing that they were not only recipients of a career teaching award, but they'd also be receiving thousands of dollars in a prize. That's the story for La Villa School of the Arts' Joan Bacon and Seabreeze Elementary School's Dara Lee Nacarado, both winners of this year's Gladys Pryor Award for Career Teaching Excellence. This is a local award that honors lifelong career teachers who have shown sustained evidence of excellence and inspiring students. La Villa's Joan Bacon is an 8th grade science teacher with over 40 years experience. She says mutual respect and trust are key to her teaching philosophy, and she's found that the more she loves teaching, the more her students love learning. Seabreeze Elementary's Dara Lee Nacarado is a music teacher with 19 years experience. In fact, it was her students who performed at the start of this board meeting. Beyond being known for making music come alive, her students say she's perhaps best known for showing kindness every single day. Now, in addition to being named as award recipients, both Bacon and Nacarado each get a very generous $15,000 prize. Here with Bacon this evening is La Villa Principal Liliana Knight, and here with Nacarado is Seabreeze Principal Amy Kimball. Please join us in honoring these outstanding educators and recipients of the 2018 Gladys Pryor Award. Our next presentation celebrates Ribault High School students making history at this year's State Latin Forum. But leaders say if it weren't for the generosity of a community partner, these victories may not have happened at all. The competition took place in April in Orlando with over 1,000 students participating. Students spent months preparing to compete in events ranging from the academic to the athletic. But a week before Ribault's team was set to leave, the team sponsor announced that they would not be able to attend due to a lack of funds. However, the Jacksonville Sister Cities Association stepped in and in one weekend raised $1,000 so that the students could compete. The rest is history. Student Gregory Hill earned the school's first ever first place award at the competition in dramatic interpretation. Charity Williams earned 6th place finishes in drawing and Greek literature. Jada Wells placed 10th in derivatives. Michael Nimmons placed 4th in declamation or an original speech. And students are now raising funds for next month's competition in Ohio. Joining the team this evening are Supervisor of World Languages, Dr. Joanne Davis, team sponsor and Latin teacher, Dr. Kelly Ranch, school principal, Dr. Michael Henry, and assistant principal, Ronnie Williams. And the team members are Gregory Hill, Katura Sykes, Charity Williams, Michael Nimmons, Jada Wells, and Amir Pugh. Congratulations. For our final recognition, we present to you a shining example of students empowered to help other students. Those who are part of the I'm a Star Foundation are taught to recognize that they are STARS, which stands for Smart, Talented, and Resilient Students. It's by these characteristics students have been driven to not only raise awareness about those who are homeless, but also to provide resources and assistance. In fact, since 2013, they've raised and donated nearly $100,000 to homeless students through the foundation's Jacksonville Helps initiative. Tonight, these students, under the leadership of I'm a Star founder and executive director Betty Burney, stand with their supportive partners to present thousands of dollars in scholarships to nearly a dozen DCPS students. Also joining this group are their supportive partners with Chartwell's Thompson, represented by CEO Belinda Oakley, Jane Buttermore, Will Ratley, and Jane Zenko, and the Candace Hawkins Foundation, represented by Dr. Cora Reed and Tricia Pugh with the Student Transition Office. This year's recipients are Peyton Beasley, Shanpriel Brown, Davin Brown, Yakayla Calhoun, Taquil Hamilton, Austin Knight, Kaman McCrae, Devontae Peak, Anna Sams, Alex Sutton, Queen Naziah Walker, and Amir Wilson. Congratulations. This concludes this evening's presentations.
Thank you all. Would you exit as quietly as possible? Approval of June 5th, 2018 agenda. That the Duval County School Board approve the June 5th, 2018 agenda as submitted on May 29th, 2018 with the following changes. Operations, purchasing, and logistics. Contract approval for web content management system and mobile application. Attachment added. Human Resource Services staffing. Human Resource Services employee transaction. Attachment amended. Approval of a minutes. Item amended. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The motion was moved by Board Member Grimes and seconded by Board Member Smith-Juarez. Any discussion? Seeing none, please register your vote.
The voice vote.
Mr. Shine's system is down.
Yeah, the voting screen isn't going to come back up, so unless they.
Shall we do a voice vote? Okay, let's start with Board Member Grimes.
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hershey,
Yes.
Mr. Shine,
Yes.
Ms. Smith-Juarez.
Yes.
Yes. By your items, you have approved this item 6-0. By your action, rather, you have approved this item. And there it is, in black and white as well. At this time, we will have the chairman's report. Tonight, you're going to see a graduation that speaks to our mission and our vision here at Duval County Public Schools. And at the conclusion of this video, I'll have a few more words.
I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Another round of bullets hits my skin. Well, fire away, 'cause today I won't let the shame sink in. We are bursting through the barricades and reaching for the sun. We are warriors. That's what we become. I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us. Oh, we are warriors. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me.
This is the work that we do each and every day. Collectively, as staff and teachers and support personnel and principals and administrators and parents and advocates, as board members, we believe in our mission of providing educational excellence in our schools every day, for every classroom, for every student. And we genuinely work as a team to ensure that every single student is inspired and prepared for success in college or career and life. And what you've just witnessed are some of our most precious and most vulnerable seniors at Mount Hermon Exceptional School. But every day, staff shows up, just like in every other school, and we work as a team. And when I say team, I mean Team Duval, to ensure that we do our best work in every building. And as we conclude the 27-18 school year, want to take this opportunity on behalf of the board and superintendent to thank each and every employee for the love, for the nurturing, for the extra steps, for the commitment, for the dedication, and for all the efforts that you do in each one of our buildings. At this time, we will have the superintendent's report by Dr. Patricia S. Willis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, jokingly, everyone says, so tonight is your last night. I told them, but I'm home, I'm here, so I'll be around. I'd like to take tonight for the superintendent's report to just reflect a few moments on my year of service and our district's progress around the goals of the board. So, a year to remember. As we came on board, of course, there were challenges of our district budget, and there are still areas of challenges as we work through that, but it certainly made that a priority for the district. We had an opportunity with staff to actually develop a proposed financial plan for addressing budgetary practices, and we began the implementation of that plan this year. We've been working through that. And then we had the solar eclipse. This was around August 21st, so the year just started, and of course, we all survived the eclipse. Our students were safe. We got everyone home safely that afternoon, and it was a great learning experience. It was a little cloudy. I think some of us were a little disappointed, but we survived that. And then, of course, we experienced Hurricane Irma. Somewhere around August 30th to September 13th, we had an unprecedented 350-mile wide hurricane to come across our state. And for the first time, all 67 school districts in the state, by order of the governor, were shut down for the safety of our students. But we, as a team, were able to get our schools back up and going after those 6 days of being shut down, and even stronger. We came back together, we worked together, and got schools back online and in place. And then as we got to the month of December, certainly things happened before that, and we'll talk about those, but the Venetia fire, and we're gonna have really a report update tonight for the board on that. But early in the morning, we got a call that there was a fire in the Venetia cafeteria. All of the cabinet was awakened, and we headed out to Venetia, to that school. And frankly, the principal of Venetia, the principal of John Stockton, they really lived the Duval spirit. We had just a few days before Christmas break, and John Stockton embraced Venetia. The teachers embraced them. They did team teaching. Kids had greeting and meeting, and they were working in classes together. The PTA wrapped their arms around them as they were having their celebrations. And so, again, I thank them for just the spirit of community that came through, and we're going to have an update tonight on where we are with Venetia. And then, of course, February 14th, we again lived the tragic school shootings that we have seen certainly in our state, and it actually changed our state, and I think our nation forever. Our legislature have actually put in place school safety procedures that we are all trying to figure out the best way to make sure that happens for our children, but we experience that as well. When I think about our board priorities, when I came in, the board had 3 priorities: our literacy, reading, priority professional development, and teacher retention. And so under priority number one of the things we did in working with our academics office with Mr. Mason Davis, we talked about how do we get more books in students' hands, so there was additional trade books added. We assured the board that the audit that they had in ELA the previous year, we called that company back in. They worked with our leadership to look at that audit and look at the recommendations, and we updated scope and sequences to actually reflect the recommendations that were in the audit. On the professional development, we reorganized our professional development and academic services. Ms. Renfro is leading that for us. We expanded our professional development options, and one of the things in leadership, as we struggle with the leadership training for our district, we said we would send to the state again and ask that our district would have its own level 2 certification so that we can put in place our leadership training. And our state has submitted to us our letter of approval. Our district has its own level 2 certification. We don't have to contract that out any longer, and we can take care of that training in our own district. And then our teacher retention, through the leadership of Ms. Young and her staff, we've expanded the support for our novice teachers. This past summer, we had teachers sessions to kind of support those teachers. First and second year teachers, we had over 251 teachers participate in that. 97% of those teachers who participated in the summer training showed up for school the first day, so we're happy about that as well. We increased our teacher development and support specialists in that area, and developed and implemented certification workshops. And somewhere around Christmas, Ms. Young told us that she had implemented this Baby Come Back. So I said, is that the song from where? Yes, because at the time when we transitioned from Christmas to the beginning of the next year, that's when we lose some teachers. And so in all of our schools, we did a special Baby Come Back for all of our new teachers. And so those, some of those initiatives were put into place. We had lots of conversation with the state during this year. So our top plans for our schools, Northwestern, Lake Forest, Matthew Gilbert, around October 16th, the state actually accelerated what that should look like and get an external operator in place. And even though that was accelerated for us, working with staff, we were able to meet the dates and deadlines of getting that done, working with the principals in that school, getting the top plans in, and so we've done that and we've met that. There was an opportunity for about 25 schools in the state to be identified of these top schools as schools of hope. There were 25 opportunities, applications that would be approved, and actually we were awarded 2 of those. So Ramona Elementary and Arlington Heights were awarded the schools of hope. We look forward to improving instruction in those schools as a result of that. As far as legislative funding and state funding, there was several community members as well as board members who traveled to the state around our funding. And also we had the opportunity with the board chair and vice chair to travel to the state, to the Senate hearing around Senate Bill 7026 with our students, who made us very proud at that time. Also, we had an opportunity to redevelop a monitoring plan for our schools that had been repurposed and take that plan to the state meeting again in Largo. I think that was about May 16th. We were actually at that meeting, and the monitoring plan was approved. We put that plan in place. As a matter of fact, we have met with our principals on monitoring these students who may be in their buildings. We have parent meetings, one scheduled tomorrow, June 6th, which will be at the Kids Hope Alliance, which is the JCC building on A. Philip Randolph, and also on Thursday, June 7th at the Legend Center for those parents. They've been communicated with so that we can work with those parents and really support them, as it certainly was by no effort of theirs that they would be in this place, and we want to make sure that the transition is as smooth as possible for them. And again, as I mentioned, a couple of state meetings. The state meeting actually was here in Duval at Florida State College. I had a chance to greet them here on behalf of the superintendents for the state, and again in Largo. And then just some other highlights. So we had the opportunity to open the Ribault Family Health Center. We know they already had the full service school there, working with all of the partners that are a part of that, the health department, Baptist Health, Wolfson, Agape, all of those partners, and it's thriving at Ribault High School so that we can help students be healthy, because we know if they are not healthy, if they're not in the best health, that it's going to impede their learning. So we're excited about seeing that. And of course, you see here, this gentleman that you see here is the superintendent in Pittsburgh, and he offered a challenge to me that our Jaguars would not defeat them. And I accepted the challenge since he did, and you know we were victorious. And so I was supposed to wear his jersey if we did, but you see he's wearing a Jaguar jersey. Congratulations to our Jags, and we were supposed to, the losing superintendent was supposed to send a $100 donation to a charity of their choice, and because it's for children, of course I sent my $100 to the Pittsburgh Promise for those students. So I didn't lose, but I thought it was all about children and it was in fun. And of course, we are so excited about our performance on the NAEP assessment. I don't have all of the scores here, but we know our fourth graders was first place in the nation of large urban school districts, the Tudor districts, as well as national public schools. And we also came in first, second, and third in many of the other areas. Certainly our African American students outshined many in the nation, and our exceptional students, special students, outshine this nation. So we congratulate our teachers, we congratulate our students on their efforts on the NAEP. And then a little busy this month as well. It's been a very celebratory month, and I came in May 22nd last year, and I came into celebrations and graduations, and I'm so grateful that I had an opportunity to end the year. We didn't know just how long we would be here, but we had an opportunity to participate in some of the academic signings at our schools. Always excited to participate in the PTA Principals and Presidents Luncheon. Our 6th and 8th graders who were 5th and 8th graders award ceremonies that we participated in around the county this month. And then other opportunities, our risk behavior survey to look at those things that could also impede our students from being successful. I went to UNF as they released that data, participated in the community schools reading celebration with our students. Our third grade scores out, they're raw scores, but we are looking at those and look like we're holding steady in that area. And of course, as I mentioned, our state monitoring plan. Went to many, many, many wonderful graduations. Parents were so excited. Someone said, how did you keep that smile through all of those students? I said, let me tell you, when students come across this stage, and I don't care if they're the last one, they're excited. And you better be smiling and excited that they're coming across that stage. And I was, and parents were cheering. Congratulations to all of our graduates, and certainly to our schools who've been successful with those graduates. And we welcome Dr. Green. So on May 18th, our board selected Dr. Green from Manatee County. Dr. Green and I have been in communication, and as she's preparing to come to the district, and she keeps reminding me it's July 1. I'll be here July 1, but we've had some very cordial conversations as she plans to arrive to the district. And then finally, I just want to say, I want to acknowledge Seaside, and I want to acknowledge that because I can appreciate the communication that we've received. Your emails, your letters, we've tried to send back, acknowledge all of those, and maybe we didn't get everyone acknowledged. And I especially want to acknowledge the students who also send communication to us. We have a meeting scheduled with leadership tomorrow. Our staff, we're going to be working. We are committed to work together so that we can present to the board, and then our board will make a decision from that point. But I wanted to acknowledge that, and thank you so much. Madam Chair, that's the report.
Okay, thank you. I want to, because everybody may not have been in here, that only during presentations do we allow applause. So please be mindful of that, and I know some of you just came in. But before we move, before we move to the department report, we have a special presentation. So, Madam Superintendent, would you join your board on the floor? Well, we want to take this opportunity. I guess I better use the microphone so y'all can. We want to take this opportunity as the board that selected Dr. Willis and who have worked with you for a little over a year to thank you for your service. Last week, I likened where we are to the song of A Second Time Around by the group named Shalimar. And there's a, come on now, some of y'all done heard of Shalimar now, you know. And, but there's a line in the song, the title is A Second Time Around, but there is a line in the song that says, the second time around is better than the first. And for us, though you retired and gave us many marvelous years as a teacher, principal, and administrator, being the superintendent, as you have heard throughout our great community, you have brought a sense of pride, a greater sense of pride, a greater sense of civility, a greater sense of warmth and culture and refocus on children. So we want to take this opportunity to say, Dr. Patricia S. Willis, because of you, the children are well. And this is the plaque, The Children Are Well, presented to Dr. Patricia S. Willis, Superintendent, Duval County Public Schools, May 2017 to June 2018, on behalf of the Duval County School Board. And I'm certain that my colleagues want to share a few words with you.
First of all, these people in the front here are having a really hard time, aren't they? I don't know of anyone else that could have done what you did. You walked into some challenges, a couple, and you just knocked them down. You brought people together, which is one of your very, very special qualities. But I don't think I went anywhere that I did not hear that, you know, you were doing just a wonderful job. And as I've said before, I know this was not exactly what you had applied, wanted to do after retiring, but you came to the call. You were asked, and you did it, and that is something that you've done your whole life. Now I want you to think about you and give yourself back to your family, and we'll never be able to properly thank you for all that you've done.
I don't know if you recall this particular part of our conversation, but I had opportunity to call and speak with Dr. Willis in advance of the meeting where she was selected as superintendent, and we had a tremendous conversation, as I had expected that we would. And as we were coming to a close of that conversation, I said, do you have any questions for me? And she said, how long are you looking for someone? But despite that, and despite knowing that you have many family obligations and volunteer obligations and other ways that you had stayed involved in the community even after retirement, you stepped up, you stepped in, you stepped in for more when we extended the contract that we had originally agreed with you, and you have been strong, you have been graceful, you have been warm, you have been a leader to this district in all that we needed from you. And there was never a time when I called you on the phone, received an email from you, stepped out of your office, and had to wonder, with whatever the conversation was about, if it was finances, if it was HR, if it was maintenance, whatever it was, your sole and consistent focus was the children. And how would whatever we were speaking about affect students in seats and on buses and in lunchrooms and everywhere out on fields and at recess and everywhere that you found them. Every time you go to an event and Dr. Willis is there, she has found children and is talking to them. And that type of leadership is the type of leadership that is reflected in everything that Ms. Wright and Ms. Grimes said were contributions to this district, and I thank you. And I will ask you, how are the children?
I'd like to thank Dr. Willis for her service. In the past year, she's not only kept us in the channel, but she's taken us to new levels. She'll leave the district with the highest performance statistics that we've ever seen in Duval County. We owe you a debt of gratitude. Thank you.
There's no doubt, Dr. Willis, that you are certainly called to serve the district in a time such as this. I'm confident of that. Everywhere I went in the district, people always had good things to say, as Board Member Grimes said. In fact, I was in one meeting one time, and somebody said, "Why are you even looking for another superintendent?" And but the other thing I want to share, too, that I noticed is that when I had the opportunity to be with Dr. Willis somewhere, everybody always came up to her to tell her thank you. I saw it at this Loretto 75th anniversary. Teachers came and said, "I just got to tell you. Thank you." And you certainly steadied the ship, and we will be forever indebted to your leadership.
Dr. Willis, thank you for your service. You provided a calming influence in the district at a much-needed time. Morale has never been higher. The biggest compliment I heard was, "Why can't we clone Dr. Willis?" That was, teachers said that time and time again. What do you want in the next superintendent? Can we clone Dr. Willis? I think that's a compliment to your outstanding leadership, your ability to communicate effectively, not just with the board, but with your cabinet and the teachers. I think that was outstanding. I saw the little cheerleader in you at the employee appreciation, and I didn't see that, know that about you, but I thank you for your service. Thank you for coming. We know that's part of your ministry. You love children, and it showed in everything you did while you were here. Thank you for your 13 months and 8 days of service to the district.
You want to give us a cheerleading?
I will be brief. I want to start by saying that I thank this board for trusting me with the children of our county, and these parents for entrusting them to our care. My staff members who have worked with me and truly held my arms up, because this little African-American girl from the east side of Jacksonville never dreamed that she would have been the superintendent of Duval County Public Schools. But I often say I should have been able to dream it. And for children all over this county who are thinking about things they want to be, doctor, lawyer, whatever, that we will continue to dream until they're able to dream for themselves. We will definitely do that. I am humbled. I said it when I came on. I'm humbled. I'm honored to have served in every capacity in this district. cafeteria worker, custodian, teacher, everything, because I think we lead by example. And I would say to my teachers, if we don't stoop to pick the paper up, don't ask our kids to do it. And so I'm just honored. I thank you so much for this opportunity. I would cherish it for the rest of my life. Thank you for trusting me to do this job.
And now we will have the department reports. Mr. Don Nelson, Assistant Superintendent of Operations.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, good evening, School Board. It's my privilege to present to you tonight the final report on Venetia Elementary School. You know you're going to have a Friday that deviates from the current schedule when you wake up to a dozen phone calls and about 30 text messages. And at 5 a.m. you think it might be time to go back to bed. But we had, as the superintendent said, most of the cabinet went right over to Venetia and were met with a fire that did start on the stage. And the smoke damage was more severe than the actual fire damage. But if you've been involved with fires, it's the smoke damage that really does the job on a structure. Immediately we mobilized a lot of members of operations department, started the demolition, removing of materials, and actually started the demolition of school. The day after the fire, we had over 40 custodians cleaning those classrooms that were closest to the fire so they would be prepared for the students. I'm proud to say that we had those classrooms ready to go. But for reasons of continuity with the students, and the welcoming arms of John Stockton, the students have finished out the calendar year at John Stockton. But I'm proud to show you what the estimates originally were $750,000 to do the repair. I'm proud to tell you we came in under budget at $700,000. The flooring's complete. The air conditioner, I will tell you, is fully operational. The school was able to do their end of the year activities in the auditorium. The parents, I talked to the principal this evening before I came in. They were very happy to see the results of the work and the appearance of the cafeteria, which was an old style cafeteria from decades ago. We're still waiting on the cafeteria curtains, and we ordered special tables for the cafeteria to match the floor. On the left is the area of the fire, that Friday, December 15th. And on the right is what that floor looks like right now. You could never tell there was a fire there. The PVC piping, the heat was so great, all the PVC piping on the wall and the overhead of the stage had melted and bent, but you can see that is exactly where the fire started. That's a view of the stage area. You can see already we have our staff there from Bulls Bay, the Consolidated Service Center, starting to remove materials that we get them out of the way so we can start demolition. And on the right, you see that same area today. We totally involved the school's leadership. I cannot say enough about Principal Worthen. She was outstanding, and the entire faculty and the students really came together and worked together and basically ate in their classrooms the entire school year until we could get this cafeteria and the kitchen back in shape for them. That is just the soundproofing to the left of the stage and a photograph of what it looked like about a week ago. And great job. We lowered the soundproofing. We added LED lighting, a sound system that's second to none, and a projection system as well as an automatic screen. The facility is much brighter than what it was, even though you see the soot. It was an older cafeteria. That is the left-hand side of the stage. The box to the right-hand side, you can see the brand new, that fire control panel. That was actually in place within 3 days of the fire, so we could get the fire control system back up on the school. But you could never tell there was a fire on that stage. Looking from the main doorway, come into the auditorium to the exit door, and then a similar view. You can see the tile, that pattern and the colors and choices of tiles. That was a school request, And so we tried to honor every request we could from the principal in making that cafeteria their own cafeteria once again. You see the LED lighting in the left-hand photograph. They had the old-style incandescent lighting and the new sound system all around in the cafeteria itself. By the time the students come back, they'll have their normal cafeteria tables, which will be color matched to the floor, and we special ordered them for the students so they would have a brand new cafeteria from floor to ceiling, including the seats they sit in. And that concludes. And we finished at $700,000, and I think it was an outstanding job, great coordination between the schools and the district, and also like to thank Principal Brandon over at Stockton for reaching out and helping those students. We did have a function at both schools where we had cookouts for the students and then provided a special meal for the faculty for doing above and beyond work as we recovered from that fire. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Dr. Willis, would you like to make principal announcements?
This certainly can. Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to, at this time, we've had our principal assignments, and I'd like to recognize those individuals so that the board can see who they are. Let me just, if I can get my list in hand. A little flustered here.
I moved it up.
Okay.
Without notice.
A little flustered in just a second.
You know better.
Somebody grab my list. Okay, let me grab. Sorry about that.
No problem.
So our principal assignments that we recently made, I'd like to introduce those individuals to the board. And if you would just please stand so that the board can see who you are. Mr. Gregory Bostic is going to Ribault High School from Westside High. Miss Kimberly Brown is going to Northwestern Middle School. Ms. Deshawn Bush is going to Kirby Smith Middle. Mr. Evan Daniels is going to Arlington Middle. Mr. Kenya Griffin is going to Reynolds Lane Elementary. Miss Sanaya Hamilton is going to Biscayne Elementary. Miss Angela Jordan is moving to Sadie Tillis Elementary. Miss Marianne Lee is moving to Mamie Agnes Jones Elementary. Miss Charlene McEarl is moving to Arlington Elementary. Mr. Sean Platts is moving to Principal of Stonewall Jackson Elementary. Miss Jennifer Rollerson is moving to Westside High School. Miss Maisha Shelton is moving to Long Branch Elementary. Miss Marianne Simon is moving to Arlington Heights Elementary. Miss Kenyatta Wilcox to Joseph Stillwell Middle. Miss Aurelia Williams to Twin Lakes Middle. Mr. Ronnie Williams to Ribault Middle. Mr. Richard Willis to S.A. Hall Elementary. Also, Mr. John Nicely is an applicant. He's going to Mandarin High. And Miss Angela Maxey, I don't know if Miss Maxey is with us. She's not here tonight, but we did speak with her by phone, and she's excited to be going to Lake Forest Elementary. Won't you help me congratulate them and thank them for accepting their. Thank you, principals. Thank you.
Thank you all and welcome. We are now on the public comment portion of our agenda. Those wishing to address the board must fill out a blue speaker's card. The school board welcomes your comments on matters that are before the board for consideration. It is not the board's intent to respond this evening, but to use the input in our deliberations. Quietly as possible. To give everyone appropriate respect and courtesy, we ask the audience to refrain from audible comments or applause. When you come to the microphone, Please state your name for the record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. When the green light in front of me starts blinking, you will have 1 minute remaining. When the light turns yellow, you will have 30 seconds remaining. When it turns red and the buzzer sounds, your time will be up. If your concerns exceed that time, you may present written comments to the board. You are asked to refrain from references to specific individuals and to follow expectations for civil discourse. Please remember that speaker cards were only accepted up until 6:20 p.m. Thank you for taking your time to address the board. We have 57 cards. Now, Madam Superintendent, did I hear you say that you are meeting with Seaside tomorrow?
I am.
Staff?
I am.
So I hope that that's kept in the forefront. 57 cards at 3 minutes, but you don't have to take 3 minutes, that's up to you.
Or no minutes.
So just remember that there's a meeting with the superintendent tomorrow. I would read into that. Our first speaker, Felicia Towns, followed by Davis Jackson, followed by Heather Jackson.
Good evening to Dr. Willis, school board members, teachers, faculty, staff, and students. I am Pastor Felicia Towns, under shepherd of Right Division Ministry. But tonight I'm not coming as a pastor, I'm coming as a parent. I don't know about you and what I saw from the beginning, the little baby singing, to the graduation, but I love children. And it is time to put prayer back in school. Children are a gift. We are a ministry that believes, speak, and live the Lord Jesus. We believe in prayer that is the essential of life worth living, and we hope that you partner with us to put prayer back in school. It's not about guns. It's not about Amendment 2. It's not about black, white. It's about the children. You see here tonight that the children come in different diversities, all age, all background. Let us take our eyes off of color. Let us take our eyes off of religion and put it back on the children. Just about every other day, there's a school shooting. And with that, I constantly see our thoughts and prayers are with the children. It's about time that we put the children first. I grew up in a home that believed in God, but again, it's not about religion, it's about the children. If we put prayer back in school, that will eradicate guns, that will eradicate cyberbullying, bullying, teachers going with the students, all of this. So let's join together. We've already started a petition. We've already started a website. So let us, for the upcoming school year, put prayer back in school. Again, it's all about the children.
Thank you. Davis Jackson, followed by Heather Jackson. I'm calling the names in advance so that you could be as close to the podium as possible with 57 cards. We want to move as swiftly. We want to hear you because we appreciate what you have to say, but we want to move as swiftly as possible. Mr. Jackson.
I would just like to say that, well, my name is Davis Jackson, and I've been at this school for 5 years, and I would like to continue going to this school because this school does not just teach academics, but how to socially react to things, and just, it's just a great school because the 3 golden rules are be kind, respectful, and everyone belongs. And I think that those are very important things. And I think that if some schools just shut that out and it's just say, learn this, that the kids are not getting what they need. And I think that Seaside has a lot of what kids need.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Heather Jackson, followed by Gabrielle Metasis and Jessica Morgan. Now, I'm going to, excuse me just a moment. We are not going to allow any applause. I want to be clear, but we're going to operate under civil discourse. Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you. Board, my name is Heather Jackson, and I am the proud parent of Davis Jackson. I would like to say thank you to the board for your support for the past 5 years of Seaside Community Charter School, and also your commitment to all of Duval County's children and their education. Davis started at Seaside in 2nd grade. He's a rising 7th grader. Now, not to sound too embarrassing to Davis, but Seaside has transformed our family's life. It seems a bit dramatic, but the transformation really has given us a new admiration for the teachers and the administration. My comment tonight is really a request. We live in a world needing more of what Seaside offers: kindness and focus on learning. Please continue to work to find solutions to keep what works working. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Gabrielle Metasis, come on up and correct me. Say it in the microphone.
Mintasis.
Thank you.
You were very close.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle Mintasis. I go to Seaside Community Charter School in Atlantic Beach. I'm in 5th grade, and I would really love to go to 6th grade at Seaside. Seaside is really cool because everyone is nice. I started Seaside when at the Rhoda Martin Center. I had a hard time reading, and Miss Cairo took extra time after school to teach me how to read. Please help us add a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade to our school. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jessica Morgan, followed by Stephanie Jurgensen Walter.
Madam Chairwoman, members of the board, my name is Jessica Morgan. You might recognize me from the 1997 Miss Ed White High School pageant, where I tied for 4th place.
I knew your face.
Right? I also attended Stonewall Jackson Elementary, Mary McLeod Bethune 6th grade center, and Jeb Stewart Middle School. So I feel very familiar with Duval County Public Schools. But I'm not here to walk down memory lane. I'm here to speak with you on behalf of my children's school, Seaside Charter School at the Beaches. I've had a child at Seaside now for 4 years. We chose Seaside over our A-rated neighborhood school, Chetts Creek Elementary, because it is severely overcrowded. When we toured Chetts, there were 39 children in a kindergarten class. The teacher informed me that each student was numbered at the beginning of the year because, frankly, that's too many names for her to learn right away. I decided then and there that my daughter would not just be a number in an overcrowded class. At Seaside, she is treated like an individual, yet the school has built such a sense of community in only a few short years. My daughter is one of the 30% of students at Seaside who receive ESE services. We were told by her psychologist that with the diagnosis she was given, most children at her age have given up on school and learning altogether. She said that it is a testament to Seaside that she loves to learn and wants to go to school. Seaside's Waldorf philosophy on educating the head, heart, and hands speaks to so many children, including my 7-year-old son. At a traditional school, he'd be forced to sit for long periods of time with limited access to the outdoors, to play, explore, and to just be a kid or a boy. He comes home dirty because his days are filled with nature walks and learning in outdoor classrooms. In the spring and fall, his pockets are full of sand from PE surfing lessons. Yet somehow, he and his classmates are still meeting the academic requirements for a DCPS first grader. Be kind and respectful, always tell the truth, and everyone belongs. These are the golden rules of Seaside. These are not just words that are shared every morning before the school day begins when students gather together at morning circle, but rather philosophies that are practiced every day by the Seaside staff and students. As a tax-paying Duval County resident, I am so thankful to have the option to send my children to Seaside. I cannot imagine my children at any other school besides Seaside, and looking forward to them continuing through the 8th grade. At the end of the day, we are all working towards the same mission for our children to receive the best public education possible. I'm so grateful that my family has found Seaside Charter School. Thank you for your time.
Ms. Walter, followed by Callie Likey, followed by Reese Likely. Likey. Yeah. Yes, you're Ms. Walter. Yes.
That's me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. I thought that was me. So I'll try to move this. I come here as many things, obviously a working mom, and president of Fishware Elementary PTA for the coming year, and as someone who actually also really loves Jacksonville, and I know you guys are faced with some decisions coming up on the budget, specifically towards arts and music. So I guess the question I have is, what are people looking for in a city? They're looking for a bustling downtown. Sure, we're really working on that. We're always working on that. We want river access, yeah, maybe, but a thriving public school system, yes, is consistently what people are looking for if they want to live in a city. And if we defund our schools' arts and music programs, we will continue to devalue Jacksonville, because at the cornerstone of a thriving city, and if we want to be a true bold city, we have to have a thriving public school system. I know we are really trying. We're getting there. We're on our way. I was talking to a good friend in St. Johns County who moved to St. Johns County for the schools, and she was lamenting that she opened up her daughter's backpack at the end of the year and found all these unused school supplies. She thought, God, why didn't they use them or give them to a place that really needs it, like Duval County? And it broke my heart that this is our reputation to the outside, and people are leaving our system and taking with them taxpayer money because of this reputation, and I know we can do better. So these cuts to arts and music not only threaten our students, and more specifically my students and the kids who I serve as president of PTA at Fishware Elementary, because we are a true neighborhood school, one of the oldest, 100 years old, and we are a thriving arts magnet school. But we also have to wonder what they are doing to our Duval County financially, as a financial impact. We all know that these arts and ancillary teaching positions are necessary for the future of children. They increase scores. We all know this. You guys are all well educated to know that. But we really also have to consider the financial impact of some of these cuts that we're making on a broader scope at a macro level. Because if we cut these programs, we are eliminating really good funding, because people will leave and they will take their kids elsewhere, and they will send them to alternative schools. As go the public schools, so goes the city. So I implore you to really, when you're making these tough choices you have coming up, I'm really asking you to look beyond the obvious. These cuts, obviously, we know are bad for children, and I know that you have hard decisions to make, but I'm asking you to look at the bigger picture for the bold city of the South. We need a good public school. We can either profit from our school or we can pay for it. I hope we profit, and these cuts are something bigger than just monetary cuts to arts and education. So please, please, please really consider that. And thank you from Fishware Elementary, a true gem of a school in Duval County. Thank you for your time.
Callie Likey, Reese Likey, followed by Carol Worth.
Madam Chair, Dr. Willis, and School Board, thank you for your service and dedication to our children. My name is Callie Lackey. Hope Restored is a story that I want to tell. My son has a story, and it's his own, but the part that I can share is this. He came to Seaside feeling like school was a battle. He has learning differences and sensory triggers. In his last school, I found him without help in places that he should not be, in corners of the school he should not be, unintended, because of fear from his past history. When we decided to come to Seaside with the smaller classes and the trauma-informed care approach with the hand, hearts, and mind, and the spirit of the children being honored, we started seeing a change in him dramatically. At his last school, he had no real friends and could not read. He's in the 3rd grade now, but had been passed on. At Seaside, they restored our hope. They saw my son for his true, beautiful self. Their trauma-informed care approach and their Waldorf style honored his uniqueness and his diversity and unlocked his full potential. They saw the child that I get to see at home. After 4.5 months in the 3rd grade at this school, wonderful school, his angel of a teacher helped him grow from a kindergarten reading level to an end of the 3rd grade mastery level, and he's now in the gifted program. This is unprecedented growth, and we are thankful to the school for journeying alongside of us. He no longer feels that school is a battle. He loves learning, and his confidence is through the roof. As you'll see, he follows me behind to speak. He has made real friends who love him and respect his differences. He loves his school. He loves learning. He loves others. And most importantly, he now loves himself, and he feels that he's intelligent and wise. This school has restored our family's faith in education and has restored our joy as a family at home. We no longer have long battles at night with tears and tantrums. We do our homework around the table and laugh and talk as a united family. School is more than just education. It's the development of a whole child, and Seaside understands that. Please honor our humble request to maintain this hope, joy, and safety for our family and for our son. Seaside is our home. Thank you.
Thank you. Reese Likey, followed by Carol Worth, followed by Adrian Lathrop.
Hello, my name is Reese Lackey. I am a Seaside student, and this is my first year at Seaside. Seaside has helped me feel confident in myself. And Seaside and my teacher, Ms. McDonough, helped me with ELA and math. And I would like to go to middle school here too. This is my favorite year. I made a lot of friends this year, and it helped. At my last year school, at my other school, I wasn't successing, but when I got into Seaside, I succeeded. This school makes me feel safe, and used to I hated learning, but now I love learning. Can you please help me? I really want to go to middle school. I would have nowhere else to go, and I would like to go to this school as long as possible.
Thank you. Carol Worth, Adrian Lathrop, followed by Jose Cruz.
That's a hard act to follow. I'll keep my comments very brief. I believe there's more children here to speak. I'm the parent of a rising sixth grader. This Seaside Community Charter School is all he's known as a Duval County school, and I'm very interested in him continuing to succeed in the school with the family and the friends that he knows that's part of the school system. He has said in a letter to you, that I saw the pictures, that you've received the letters. Please use your power, the power that you have to protect Seaside. And I'm underscoring that here tonight. Madam Chairwoman, you spoke about the spirit of Duval and the spirit of community. And I think that's what we're here to convey tonight, is the spirit. And I thank you all for working towards a solution.
Thank you. Adrian Lathrop, Josue Cruz, and April Lehman.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm here tonight to make an appeal to the board to establish a committee of concerned citizens such as myself to address the issue of overage students in our schools. It's my conclusion from the data that I received from the school board that during this school year in Duval County, there were 200 teenagers in elementary school, over 300 students that were 16 years or older in middle school. And in high school, there are about 500 20-year-olds and legal adult students. Those are over 21 years old in high school. In high school. I believe this has a negative impact socially, emotionally, and intellectually on both the students and the teachers. In fact, the entire community. I'm confident that there are others like me who would be honored by the opportunity to volunteer their time to meet to address this single issue of overaged students in our schools, to provide the board with suggestions for remedies to lessen the negative impact to the communities within the city of Jacksonville. Thank you for your time, and please consider my request, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Please state your name, ma'am.
Adrienne Lathrop.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. When you come to the microphone, I ask that each of you please state your name. Josue Cruz, April Lehman, Emma Schilling. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Josue Cruz. I'm here to speak in favor of continued and increased funding for arts education. Know that if funding for arts education is cut, arts aren't eliminated. They're merely relegated to be a privilege of the affluent and abled communities. Those with the financial means can and will seek out arts education at their whim. Cutting funding for the arts merely widens the chasm of inequality and reinforces the unfortunate message of, you can't today, so you never will. Honorable ladies and gentlemen of the board, there's no denying that your task is difficult, but I implore you to continue to fund arts education as a way to unite across cultures and a way to unite across socio-economic backgrounds. Thank you.
Thank you. April Lehman, Ms. Schilling, Mr. Kalem, Ethan Kalem. Ms. Lehman.
Good evening. I'm April Lehman, and I have been a public school music educator for the past 28 years. I've been currently at Beauclair Elementary School for the last 12. And all my notes disappeared. That's okay, they're back. And I have had the opportunity to teach music at every grade level, from K through 12, during my career. I've had many privileges. I've been privileged to serve my colleagues as the president of the Florida Elementary Music Educators Association. I've been privileged to carry the title of Florida Music Educator of the Year, but none of those titles mean anything until you realize that the importance of arts education begins in our schools, because I am a product of Florida public school music programs. The interesting thing to note is that there were great teachers along the way who inspired me and introduced me to parts of myself I wasn't even sure existed. I did not come from a musical family, and so I find that it is my mission to help students in our schools who maybe don't know that they have these gifts to find them and develop them. And although I didn't come to talk about myself tonight, I can speak for many of my former students who found their voice and their passion through the arts. Some of them are now arts teachers themselves. Some use the arts in their chosen profession. Some are college scholarship music students, and others have expressed to me how that the things that they learned in my classes and in our ensembles are shaping their relationships even with their own children today. One told me that when he knew he wasn't doing his best, now he could still see me look at him across the piano with that look like, I know you can do better, and that he would. He'd push himself to do better. My own friend Shauna Mansfield is a professor in Gainesville, and she related her experience with her students to me, and she said, as a professor of students who are coming from schools who limit creative education, it is flat out frustrating because they, through creative education, learn skills that are non-linear. You learn to express yourself in a manner that can be more profound than a perfectly written essay. She says, I struggle with getting my students to give me their opinions rather than a regurgitation of what has been read or lectured on. And she said they need to learn that instead that worrying about getting everything perfect, it's about learning to discover and to play, and that it's okay if you mess up, because there's an opportunity to think about it and get it right later.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Ms. Schilling, followed by Ethan Kalem, Shanna Mercer, Ella Weist. Yes.
Good evening. I'm a student of Seaside Community Charter School, and my name is Emma. I want you to know my name personally because I am coming to you with a very personal issue. My school has applied for a K through 8 charter that you will be deciding upon. This may seem like a very small decision, but its impact will have a huge effect on my life and education. This decision will determine whether or not I can stay with the nurturing, safe community we have all worked so hard to build. Our school's emblem is a sea turtle with heart. Our educational journey is like a newly hatched sea turtle's arduous journey through the hot sands to the ocean. Like the turtles, we are learning our path, building life skills, and supporting each other as a community. Choosing to approve the K through 8 charter will preserve that community, while choosing to deny it will throw us into the ocean before our time, before we are ready. It could damage our developmental journey, and we may never find our way back. Denying our K through 8 charter will tear my school community apart. We will be divided into several different middle schools. I personally will be sent to Mayport Middle School, home of the Sharks. I would be asked to join their class halfway through my middle school career. I will be thrust into a turbulent environment. Please don't throw this sea turtle to the Sharks. Please preserve my school community. Please vote to approve Seaside Community's Charter K through 8 expansion. Thank you for your time.
Yes, ma'am. Before you leave, would you give us your first and last name?
Emma Schilling.
Thank you so much. Ethan Kalem, followed by Shanna Mercer, Ella Weist, and Liana Weist. Yes, sir.
Oh, hi, I'm Ethan Kalem. I have been here for 5 years, and I just finished 6th grade at Seaside Community Charter. And I'm looking forward to going to Seaside 7th through 8th grade. And that's why we're here today, to make that a reality. I've been at Seaside for 5 whole years, and now I consider everyone their family. Like real family. And Seaside does not just educate, they make it fun. The teachers and staff, and activities are highly likable. This has been Ethan of Seaside Charter.
Thank you. Shayna Mercer, Ella Weist, Leanna Weist, followed by Tim Miller. Please state your name.
I'm Shauna Mercer. I'm Shauna Mercer, a parent of a rising 6th grader at Seaside Middle. And I did have a 3-minute speech, but I kind of threw it away. I do want to thank you for your email responses and the information given to us. I want to also take the moment to thank you all for your service and your dedication. I watched the webcast of the school board meetings occasionally to kind of keep up to date on things, and I know you guys are passionate and dedicated, and I trust you guys to do the right thing. This last year has been just amazing to see the results on your board. I'm sorry, I'm nervous.
Okay, take your time.
So our school motto is everyone belongs, everyone matters. And as adults, we remember, whenever we think back, we can remember what it's like to be in middle school. And we can remember how much we wanted to belong. And our kids have family, as our students have said. When we pulled into the parking lot here, my son saw the sea of tie-dye in the parking lot, and his first statement was, "Look, there's our fam." The kids have a community, one where everyone truly does matter and everyone truly does belong. And it's like a family, for better or worse. And we're really just here to implore you to please help us find a stopgap for the 2018-2019 school year, so our kids don't have an interruption in their education, and so that we can continue on with our charter as usual into the higher years. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ella Weist, Leanna Weist, Tim Miller, Darlene Miller.
Eloise. Good evening, school board. Thank you for hearing us today. My name is Eloise, and I will be going into the 6th grade next year. I've been at Seaside since the beginning. My kindergarten year was at Abbas Park, It was hard to make friends there. We hardly ever went outside, and we never got to play. At Seaside, it's very different. My friends here are all kind, loyal, understanding, funny, and creative. Over the last 5 years, we've become a family. We spend time together every day after school and even plan summer camps together. I don't know what we would do if we were separated. That would feel like the end of the world to me. Seaside is not just a school, but it's our life. I help build the soccer field with my dad. My mom goes on every field trip and is our room mom. My friends all know and like my mom because she's always there helping out the school. My teachers really get to know who I am and what I like. This helps me in the classroom because they understand how I learn. This is why Seaside teachers are different. They actually care about us and not just our grades. I'm not the only one in here tonight who feels this way. Our last week of school, we spent worrying about if we would be going to a middle school together. If I was forced to go to another school, I wouldn't be able to do the things I love, like drawing, handwork, surfing, gardening, nature walks, and most importantly, just being able to be a kid. I don't want to sit in a classroom all day and fill in bubble sheets like my other friends that go to other schools. I want to stay at Seaside where I belong. Tonight, I would like to thank you on behalf of Beth, Kenzie, Finn, Ethan, Mark, Isla, Vince, Anna, Dakota, Emma, Abby, Davis, Lexi, Isabella, Camden, Maisie, Tatum, Rory, Scooter, Wyatt, Dylan, Zoe, Peyton, Logan, J.K. Wade, Amelia, Addison, Avani, Gabrielle, Gabe, and anyone else I missed.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. The buzzer, the light, is it? It's not working. Yeah, it's not been on. So could we check the? Why don't you finish while we check that young lady quickly? Because I think you're beyond 3.
These may just look like faces in the crowd, but this is my family. We are Seaside. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Second and last warning. Applause, even from precious words from the mouth of babes, will not be tolerated. So please refrain. Last warning. We will remain cordial and respectful of each other. Leanna, I think the young lady said Weist. Is that right? Weist, Tim Miller, Darlene Miller.
Leanna Weist. Thank you for hearing us tonight. My name is Leanna Weist, and my daughter Ella attends Seaside Community Charter School. We are a founding family that has supported and contributed to its success since the doors opened in 2013. Her father, Joseph Weist, along with a dozen other founding families here, spent an entire summer working with their bare hands, getting it ready for the school year. We've also raised over $50,000 in May that year to make the transition possible. Ella's a rising 6th grader. Her and 66 of her other peers are now facing the issue of being separated. We're here today to ask for your help. As a taxpayer, we have chosen an alternative education that supports our family's beliefs. Seaside is the only Waldorf-inspired charter school in the entire Southeast, and we have chosen this education because it supports her as a whole. Removing her and her peers from this environment would be detrimental. I'm a native of Jacksonville Beach. I have attended public schools here. I faced many challenges at my schools that my daughter does not face at Seaside. Being forced to send her to a different school where I know she will be treated differently is unacceptable for me, especially coming from an environment like Seaside. She is accepted for who she is here. She has relationships at Seaside that is built on a solid foundation that helped her thrive. This situation threatens to undo that. At Seaside, she's known by every member of the staff. The children in different grades are allowed to mingle and spend time together. It's no surprise when a kindergartner walks up and says, "Hi, Ella," and they're welcomed with hugs. And since everyone belongs, it's a beautiful thing to see. These rising teens interacting so kindly with younger children. This is not the case at other schools. After all, a school whose motto is kindness and everyone belongs means we don't have issues with bullying. Children are learning conflict resolution at an early age on the playground and outside of the classroom walls. Ella is not only thriving at Seaside, but she's able to take these things into the real world. Her social and emotional development is a key focus and is crucial in today's age. We talk about the hardening of schools, and we are all on board for safety measures. When you have a school like Seaside who focuses on social and emotional development, you don't run into the same problems. That's been proven a fact in our case. Again, we appreciate you working with us, and we know that we're coming to a solution, but we do still firmly believe that taking away this community that we've created, our family, would be detrimental to these 66 children. As parents, we do all we can to help our children thrive. We do this so they can have a bright future and become productive members of society. Seaside is a one-of-a-kind school that molds and builds incredible children to become amazing and successful adults. They need this continuation. Please move forward with our middle school as planned. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Miller, Darlene Miller, followed by Sean Bennett.
Good evening. My name is Tim Miller. Over the last couple of years, we've been up here advocating for ESE students. And through that process, we've ended up talking with a lot of people across the district. Parents, teachers, administrators, community members, you name it. Probably because of that, about 3 weeks ago, I got some information in the mail about the amount of testing done in elementary schools. Unfortunately, there was a note on it that said, information's been passed through several people because of fear of retribution. They don't want to know who it came from. That's one issue. The teachers and the staff and the administration needs to make sure that they can freely express their concerns. That's one issue. But the data that I received is pretty startling. In kindergarten, students have 18 days worth of testing. It's an average of 1 day of high stakes testing every 2 weeks. First grade, another 18 days. Second graders, they've got it easy with only 6 days. But then in third grade, we shoot up to 35 days. In fourth grade, 30 days. In fifth grade, 39 days of testing. That's average of over 1 day per week just of testing. These numbers are strictly the state and district tests. It doesn't include classroom quizzes, tests, and that type of thing. The hours that were also sent to me also only include just the test time, not setting up for the test, handing out materials, instructions, and that type of thing. And because I'm quite familiar with ESE students, many ESE students have additional time for assessments on their IEP, which means the number of hours and the number of days can be greatly increased for ESE students. 30 or 60-minute test could very easily become a 2, 3, 4-hour test for an ESE student with extended time. And I know that as a parent, sometimes when you get into these testing cycles, the students just give up. They say they're done with testing. They just can't take it anymore. So we need to do something about that. A few months ago, Dr. Coca Daniels got up here and said, everybody thank your testing coordinator because they have a lot of work to do. This really shows that they really do. Part of the issue is, though, elementary schools don't have a dedicated testing coordinator. The AP is doing this work, which means when they're trying to coordinate all of this testing for all of these grades, they're not focusing on their normal duties that they should be doing as an AP for the school. So it's taking away services. Also, another common accommodation, individual and small group testing for ESE resources. So they are being pulled to do testing for large periods of time and not presenting the services. Thank you.
Thank you. Darlene Miller, Sean Bennett, Jimmy Hill.
I'm
just going to kind of pick up on what Tim left off a little bit, because I think it's very important we realize that when the ESE children are pulled out for testing, teachers are still teaching. They are missing the concepts going on in the classrooms. When they're pulled out for testing, then you have ESE teachers testing them. So who's doing the services for the children left behind? The ESE kids not testing. When you have one AP and the one AP is busy doing all the testing, who's helping the teachers or the discipline or the other issues going on in the school? You see a whole gallery full of people who are very passionate about their charter school. Maybe we just need to start and look and figure out why they're all at charter schools. What could we do as the public school a little bit differently? This testing just concerns me when it's a fifth grader spends 22% of their year in state and district tests. I realize we can't do anything about the state tests, but we can do something about some of these district tests. Thank you.
Thank you. Sean Bennett, Jimmy Hill, Amanda Jones.
Greetings, great to be with you. My name is Sean Bennett. I'm the president of the Elementary Music Teachers Association for Duval County. Tonight, I come here before you tonight to respectfully ask that we try to work on fixing the budget deficit in our county in other ways that don't include cutting the arts. We're always the first ones to get cut. Every time there's a budget cut, they cut arts and music. Music education opens doors that help children pass from school into the world around them, a world of work, culture, intellectual activity, and human involvement. The future of our nation depends on providing our children with a complete education that includes music. Those are words from President Gerald Ford, former president of the United States. This year, I've just completed 5 years of full-time work at my school. When I started at my school, I had nothing. I literally started out with nothing. And I have built my program into a really great, fabulous, vibrant program on the West Side, which is a place that really needs more arts. And we're at a critical time when we need the arts in our district, we're cutting the arts. So I ask you, can we work together to work something out? We need to have a town hall meeting with teachers that are going to be affected by this. We need to have some sort of dialogue so that we can work together. There's many ways that we can find funding allocations for this beyond our classroom and our school. We should be working with City Council on ways to bring in additional tax revenue locally. We know that the state's not going to give us funding. We've already seen it. I see people looking up as I say it right now. So we need to be looking. We should be partnering with Mayor Curry. We should be partnering with Councilwoman Broche and the other members of the City Council to see what they can do instead of just sitting behind and saying, hey, let's cut the arts, because our children need us. Our students need us, and it's important. It's vital to us as a society to have music, art, and even PE in our culture. I ask that you try to make some decisions. I would be happy to work with you all on this and try to bring people together. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you, Jimmy Hill, Amanda Jones, Tamika Lismore.
Hello. Thank you very much for allowing me a 3-minute opportunity to speak. Really quickly, I'll tell you a little bit about myself so you know why I'm up here. My name is Jimmy Hill. I'm a father of a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old, one going to Mayport Middle and one going to Fletcher. It has been an absolute struggle to get them through their education. One, because he has a special need, and we have struggled to deal with that special need. And the other, because he followed and learned from his brother that if he fights, it makes it easy on him, but he's actually a very special student. So I do not have a student in Seaside. It was not something that was available to us at the time, but my oldest son would have benefited greatly from the additional time and exposure that he would have received at that school. However, the Duval County school system has provided a lot of resources and a lot of opportunity, but he has something special. I'm going to leave you with a word. I want you all to look it up. If you should know it well, but we have found stunningly that most educators are not familiar with dysgraphia as much as they should be. He is a brilliant, capable student who has struggled because he is brilliant, but he is incapable of keeping up with the standards required by your typical public school system. So please write that word down. Please spend a minute, because you're going to find it affects more students than you realize inside the system. I am currently running for mayor of Jacksonville. I am a city commissioner out of Atlantic Beach, and I had 3 things I wanted to share with you. I'm here tonight not where I should be campaigning, but because my students missed an opportunity like Seaside to get the special care, my children, that one of them needed. However, my middle school student at Mayport is in a struggle, and it's a tough school. And all of his friends have found ways to get to other schools. So you need to focus on it. These are the hard nights. Sitting behind the dais as a city commissioner in Atlantic Beach for 4 years, these are the nights where I grew the most. When you hear hundreds of people tell you you might have a better way of doing something, these are the nights that we, as the people who decide to do these tough jobs, take a look at ourselves, reflect on ourselves, and realize there are better ways, there are other solutions. I hope we can grow. The situation where this arrived, where the middle school process somehow got off the tracks, I really hope we can get that back on the tracks. And then one last thing before I get the buzzer. This is the most important. I've spent 4 years. Nothing else you hear tonight is more important than please reach out to Atlantic Beach City Council and Mayor and get that speed limit lowered on Mayport Road before one of these kids is not able to get back up here and speak to you. I've been fighting for 4 years for that. That speed limit in front of Mayport Middle and this school, should it get its approval, is constantly causing severe damage. We've lost more students than I can tell you, and you'll hear about them. That speed limit is too high. Cars are averaging 60 miles an hour in front of a middle school with no school zone every single day. I covered a lot of stuff. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for the time. Thank you for your job that you do. It's a tough one. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Amanda Jones, followed by Tamika Liz Moore and Linda G. Nati.
Good evening, school board members. My name is Amanda Jones, and I've been a teacher at Duval County for 17 years, and I take pride in upholding the principles of professional conduct of education. My students continue to show growth as evidenced by my VAM scores and the positive relationships that I've established with them. On February 13, 2018, it was reported that I engaged in inappropriate touching and conversations with students. It saddens me to believe that my loving on my students has been misrepresented with words such as inappropriate. I believe that if my students can relate to me, they will be more engaged and active participants in their own learning. One way that I build relationships with students is by learning them outside of school. I often am invited to their baseball games, piano recitals, church, and every time I'm invited, I go. Therefore, my students tend to see me more as a family member more than just their teacher. At school, my students want to hug, we play, we dance, we arm wrestle, we act silly, and I do whatever it takes to engage them in learning. Whether it's a pat on the back, an affectionate hug, or a rub on the face, or every single act of touching has been in a loving and nurturing manner. Any past disciplinary actions as reported on my reprimand are not true. Not once were the terms discipline nor reprimand used in any interaction between myself and my principal. On February 28th, 2017, it says that I was given a verbal warning for pulling a student by the backpack, causing him to hit his head on the door. I have, as indicated by the DCF report that you all have, the collateral witnesses state that they denied seeing any of these allegations take place, and the parent did not have a problem with this report, and the case was closed. On November 15, 2017, I was issued a verbal reprimand for protocol and insubordination when I took a phone from a student and refused to give it to my principal. The said incident took place on November 7th, and I was summoned for a conference of understanding with my principal for November 15th. During this meeting, my principal said, "This meeting is not about a phone, it's just to get an understanding." Not once were the terms discipline nor reprimand used. This meeting lasted about 45 minutes about a number of misunderstandings we had about discipline and whatever else we had going on. At the end of the meeting, she stated, "This is just a conference of understanding. Everything is cleared up and we are good." I vehemently deny using any inappropriate language with students. I would never inappropriately touch anyone, especially a student. Based on the information that is false, there is no reason for me to be given a written reprimand nor suspension. The first 30 days are critical for all of our students for the rest of the school year. If the school board is thinking about suspending me, it should be based on the truth and not predicated on a lie. Please, before you make this decision, consider the impact this will have on my 145 students for the next school year. Thank you.
Thank you. Tamika Lismore, Linda Giannotti, Treri Ricks. Yes, ma'am.
Tamika Lismore. Good evening, Dr. Willis and school board representatives. I'm here to speak on behalf of Amanda Jones. I've never known a teacher who is more loved than her. You have students coming to her back door before school is even open. Can I help you do this? Can I help you do that? She shows her affection and love through hugs, high fives, pats on the back, and an occasional dance challenge in the cafeteria. Not only do the kids love her, I do as well. I moved to 5th grade this year. It's my first year teaching 5th grade, and she was a fantastic support system. No matter how many questions I had, she was always willing to answer them. We came up with incentives to encourage the students to do well on their standard mastery tests. So it was an ongoing competition between our classes that they would look forward to it. We would even play the kickball games with the kids. And the scores did improve. They went from in the red to in the green by the end of the year. So Ms. Jones would never harm a child, only support through affection that she shows every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda Giannotti, Treri Ricks, Quanara Rogers. And please feel free to, please say your name and correct my pronunciation.
Good evening, school board members. You did very well on my last name. My name is Linda Giannotti. Thank you very much for that. I'm here to talk about Amanda Jones. I'm here tonight because I had sorry, I'm very nervous. I had two grandchildren that were students of hers, different years, and they loved her. She teaches math, and my two students, my two grandchildren, they had no idea how to do anything as far as math was concerned. My grandson still struggles a little bit, and when he has a problem, he'll give her a call. My granddaughter does the same. They don't call her all the time, but they do keep in touch with her. I've been with her quite a few times on field trips. I've never seen her do anything but love on the students and dance, as you've heard. You talked of love and care, teaching, showing up, and giving. She has done nothing but teach. You know, I've seen them go. I've seen students from high school and middle school go to her back door and say hi and thank you. I've seen a lot of high school students go and tell her thank you for the teachings of math and how much it's helped them today in their studies. She interacts very well with students. I noticed even the ones that don't want to learn seem to do something. They get something out of her class. These are not easy students that we're talking about. These are students that some want to learn, some don't. The ones that don't want to learn are very verbal about it, and they're very challenging. I also have been, you know, I don't want to talk bad about any student because all students are important, but these are troubled students that they teach at this school, and they're hard. They're very hard. But they learn. I've had several students come down. I work at the end of the street, and they'll come down and they'll say, do you know what that teacher did? And I said, what teacher? That math teacher. I said, which math teacher? They said, Miss Jones. I said, no, what did she do today? She taught me how to do math. And I said, well, what kind of math? Fractions. I said, not fractions, please, not fractions, because I don't know anything about fractions, so don't even tell me about them. And they were so excited, and they just love her with all of their heart. So I just want you to think about that it's the students that we're talking about today. Thank you.
Thank you. Treri Ricks? No, okay. Quanara Rogers?
Good afternoon. My name is Tracy Ricks.
Oh, Tracy, okay.
I'm speaking on behalf of Ms. Jones. My daughter was her student 4 years ago. She did not like math whatsoever until she got in Miss Jones' class. To this day, she still calls her for algebra homework, math work. As far as suspending her, I just don't see why that would happen. She's very loving, caring. Even like 2 weeks ago, she called me and said, "Hey, I owe this student lunch. Can you go get it for me?" Absolutely. I jumped and did it. She's always giving, caring, loving. Even to this day, she still calls all her students by their names and says, "Hey, do you have a recital? Do you have piano practice I need to come to?" She's always there. She never backs down from anything. Thank you.
Thank you. Quinara Rogers, Anna Corrali, Audrey Parman.
Sorry. Good evening. My name is Quinara Rogers, and I'm here to speak on behalf of Amanda Jones. I've known Miss Jones since I was 12 years old. I was on her 8th grade basketball team when I was in middle school. During that time, Ms. Jones became a mentor for me as well as some of the other young ladies on the team. She supported us throughout our high school and college careers. As an adult, I became a substitute teacher for Duval County and the Clay County school systems. And during that year and a half, I learned that you can tell how well a classroom was run by how well the students acted in their teacher's absence. And while I was in Ms. Jones's class, during the few times that she was out, I can tell that her kids loved and respected her because I always had a good experience in her class. Fast forward to more recently, I've had the privilege of visiting her current classroom, and I can see that the love, support, and respect continues to live in her classrooms. So I know she would never harm a student. So people may ask, how can you be so sure? I also stand here as an example of how she goes above and beyond for her students. I was one of her student athletes when I was in the 8th grade. Not only was I a student athlete, I was an athlete with a chronic illness. During this time, when I was in 8th grade, I had a major lupus flare and had to undergo extensive chemo treatment. Not only supporting me on the courts, Ms. Jones was there while I was in the hospital taking my chemo treatments, encouraging me to continue to fight, continue to grow, continue to be strong, and adjust my wig if I needed to. She gave me that confidence that I needed to get through college and graduate with honors. I don't know what I would do without her. My family and I refer to her as my godmom now because she became one of those people that one of those people of the village it takes to raise and support a child. She's one of the people who was an encouragement for me, and I stand here as an educator myself because of her. I can only hope that I can encourage and support my students at least half as much as she has done for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Anna Corrali, Audrey Parman, Donald Nobles. Anna Corrali? Audrey Parman.
I'm Audrey Parman. I am going to talk about the budget cuts and how they're affecting our arts programs. Dear school board members, I am a Fishware student going to 4th grade in the arts program. I am very sad to know budget cuts might cause schools to lose resource time. I am in art studio. Our art teacher, Mrs. Scriba, is really great. She helps a lot with art studio, ceramics, art portfolio, and art club, also art for resource. It would be very, very hard for her if she was only at her school part-time. She has lots of stuff she's in charge of. All of the resource teachers work very hard, but Mrs. Scriba is in charge of many things. Please don't let schools lose the funding for programs they need like this. I moved here from a local private school specifically for this reason. I have 2 younger sisters who will be at Fishware. One is going into 2nd grade. I know how sad she'll be if she doesn't get to be in the arts program. My other sister going in kindergarten will also be sad. I think my 3rd grade
class did really well on the FSA. I think one of the reasons is that resource time gave the arts and action time gave our teachers extra time to think about how they can teach us to do good and pass on the FSA. Please help our public schools. We really need it.
Thank you. Donna Lee Nobles, Dylan Phillips, Gabrielle Kehoe.
Good evening. My name is Donnelly Nobles, and I've been a music teacher at Ramona Boulevard Elementary School for the last 5 years. When I started there, the kids, they didn't do anything. They sat there and expected me to teach them a song. I had a box of broken instruments. That's all I had. And now I have a classroom full of instruments and things for them to do, parachutes and stuff like that. But I come to you tonight asking for your help to find a way to keep art, music, and PE in the elementary schools full-time. Students need the arts and PE for social development. I've had the opportunity to observe our PE coach as his mentor. He teaches team-building skills through play. In art, our teacher has students work in groups to create huge projects. As a music teacher, I guide students to work collaboratively to play music with a wide range of instrumentation. They had to listen to each other and work together to make it work. These social skills assist students in all aspects of life. Music is a part of everyday life. From movies, pop songs, commercials, and video games, music affects us in so many ways. I teach history when I teach about the music from the Baroque period or the effects of the music from the 9/11 attacks. I teach reading skills. Kindergarten learns that reading music from left to right is just like reading a book. 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students choose a song that they need to study. They have to tell me what the song is about, why it was written. That's all comprehension. But I go beyond that. They have to tell me in a paragraph or so why they chose that song and what that song means to them. I also have students use instruments to set to nursery rhymes or to stories, and they perform these for PTA meetings. Students struggle to understand fractions in math have come to me later and said that when I explain beats in music, subdividing beats, they understand how fractions work. I collaborate with my teachers. 3rd grade, when they study the life cycle of the frog, I teach them songs about frogs. I teach them songs about frogs from other cultures and other languages, and they do these for PTA meetings. But music, art, and PE goes beyond all of that. I've had students enter my room completely shut down and unproductive, where they've been bad or they've had a bad day or they're frustrated with what they're learning. But they leave my class in 45 minutes and they're ready to go on and they're ready to finish the day. I could keep telling you story after story, but I'm sure that you know how much the arts affect our kids. And I hope that as we as educators can continue to help our kids to create a masterpiece, because that's what they do in my classroom. They create masterpieces. I have a student that wrote lyrics this year.
Thank you,
Thank you
so much. Dylan Phillips, Gabrielle Kehoe, Zoe Ray Lakavara. Is Dylan Phillips in? Gabrielle, are you Mr. Phillips? No, okay. Gabrielle Kehoe. Zoe Ray Lakavara. Jay King. Emily Anderson. Howard Rentschler. Mr. King.
Dear Board, my name is Jay King. I want to keep my comments necessarily generic given the board, the diverse audience, and the need to focus on strategy, so I will not mention names or places. The parents of our school have requested an audience with Dr. Willis to discuss our specific concerns about the personnel decision to remove our beloved principal that was announced today at 1 p.m. to staff, but as of yet has not been announced to parents. Research this afternoon has shown us that she and she alone made this decision. I would like to discuss parent engagement and what it means to the board, but I necessarily need to provide some specific context. We have official means to foster parent engagement, such as school advisory councils. I've been a SAC chair the last 4 years at 2 different schools. But if we're honest with ourselves, most of these councils exist in paper only. They meet during the day, they serve only to produce minutes. I have talked to other SACs across the district. Our SAC has had 30 at its last meeting of the year and 115 who participated in various ways and followed emails, etc. I do not believe any other middle schools can put up those kind of numbers. These numbers were solely the result of everyone's buy-in to our principal's vision and results. We are a group of parents and community partners who regularly roll up our sleeves under our principal's leadership and enthusiasm, which has absolutely been contagious. Since 1 o'clock today, I've received a steady stream of texts, emails, and phone calls from parents who are crying, angry, and in general, what we've all described as a punch to the gut. We were absolutely blindsided by the decision to remove our principal. Many of us practically have second jobs at DCPS as cheerleaders, school volunteers, and had considered ourselves valued stakeholders. We had done much collectively on soccer sidelines, kid birthday parties, at church, and anywhere people met to stem the ill will our peers held for our middle school and DCPS in general. Prior to our most recent principal, there was a steady flow of families out of the county solely for schools, to charter schools, etc. We believe when others did not because of our principal. Our efforts turned the discussion on social media from roundly negative to decidedly positive. The community began to believe in our principal, and students flowed to our school and not away. My respect for our principal has only grown as I have seen her action around the school. I can go on with the specific examples, and I will with Dr. Willis in her audience, but principals, transformational leadership, energy bus initiative, staff development, recognition, accountability, weekly parent communication, strategic planning, adaptive leadership she processes based on results, interaction with parents, dogged pursuit of success, sincere love and engagement of students. She knew all 1,300 students by name. Extreme professional under intense pressure, willingness to tackle societal issues and impinge on student success, develop a community partnership, etc. As of today, we have lost several other key staff, such as an assistant principal, 2 teachers of the year, and more. This decision has left us looking at a crater with no clear path to regain our former success, or much less take to new heights. We've been left devastated and shell-shocked by this decision as a community. I'm encouraged that our new superintendent, whose community panel interviews I participated with, mentioned that she partnered with parents on school leadership decisions. What good is a stakeholder or partner if there is no outreach on the most important decisions? We do not expect to have final say,
Sir,
but we
thank
expect to
you.
be partnered with.
Madam Chair, are you representing a certain school?
I was going to keep it generic.
That's okay. That's okay. Thank
But
you.
yes, Twin Lakes Academy Elementary School, or middle school.
Now, what we've just witnessed is not as respectful as we should be. When the chair says thank you, that's what should be abided by. We are here to listen to each and every person, but we're going to be afforded the same level of respect. Amber Amerson, Howard Winsler, Jennifer Wolf.
Hello, I'm Amber Amerson. On behalf of the Arts Advisory Council, I thank the school board for giving me this forum to speak about arts education. I'd also like to welcome and express an enthusiastic support for our new superintendent and say how sorry we are to lose Superintendent Willis. The Arts Advisory Council is an organization of parents, students, faculty, business leaders, and community members who are committed to ensuring that every child receives an arts-rich education. We understand we are in a budget crisis and difficult decisions are being made with regards to our upcoming school year. At this point, I could go on and speak to the data that shows growth in academic excellence, as well as creative planning, proactive solution solving, and citizenship when an authentic arts program coincides with the school's curriculum. But I'm not. Instead, I'm going to say thank you, and thank you to all the previous school board members and superintendents who've come before you, because I'm a product of Duval County Public Schools, where I took chorus and visual arts at Ruth and Upson, band at Smart Pope Livingston, theater at Stanton Middle, and theater, chorus, and keyboard at Forest High. I was one of those kids who had to study hard for my academic grades. Even though I was top 10 in my class and passed AP courses, when it came to standardized testing, I had severe anxiety and I was a failure. My mom was a single mom and we had limited financial means. With low SAT scores, I doubted I'd get into a good college and thought it was impossible to get a scholarship. However, through continued pursuit of mastery within the arts, I was encouraged to push forward. I was reminded the skills and talents I had far exceeded quantitative knowledge from a standardized test. So I pursued my dream schools. I sold Krispy Kreme donuts door to door on the weekend until I raised enough money to tour, interview, and audition for universities. I met with Stanford, Northwestern, NYU, IU, FSU, and USC. I was waitlisted for Northwestern, but accepted into all the others. In the end, it didn't matter which one I attended. What mattered was I finally got it. I learned through the arts how to be a catalyst for collaboration, meet a deadline, think outside the box, be proactive, and most importantly, how to communicate effectively, which were and are some of the most needed skill sets to survive. I went on to a successful 10-year entertainment career in Los Angeles, but when I heard Duval County was going to open La Villa Middle School of the Arts, and there was a need for someone to help write curriculum and be part of this new endeavor, I jumped at the chance to be part. Over the years, I've taught hundreds of students who are in my same situation and have become working artists, doctors, veterinarians, professors, and so on. I know you are a group of thoughtful leaders who are invested in helping our schools succeed. I hope we can find some creative solutions for meeting the academic and artistic needs of our students. We welcome you to attend any arts advisory meeting, as we are here to help and support however we are able. If the community would like to learn more about the council and see amazing arts programs and accomplishments in our school system, please go to www.artsadvisorycouncil.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Howard Rentschler, Jennifer Wolf, Caroline Kraft, Caitlin Carroll. No, Mr. Rentschler? Jennifer Wolf. Caroline Kraft, followed by Caitlin Carroll, Eunice Barnum.
Hi, I came here today to speak on the character of Miss Amanda Jones. Having worked with her for 3 years, I can speak confidently to who she is as a teacher and as a person. I aspire to one day be able to develop the relationships and rapport with the students that come so naturally to Miss Jones. Her students feel valued and heard, and I believe this is one of the reasons why her students do so well. Her scores speak for themselves. Not to mention, she single-handedly takes home the greatest number of handmade cards and hand-picked flowers during Teacher Appreciation Week than any other teacher I know. Having partnered with her in the 2015-2016 school year, I know better than anyone that there's no competition when competing for the spot of favorite teacher. Miss Jones wins every time, hands down. The students would say, "Miss Kraft, I love you, but Miss Jones is my favorite teacher." And I would say, "I appreciate your honesty." I'd also like to speak on the integrity of Miss Jones. When I first began at our school, Miss Jones supported me and helped me even though we did not teach the same subject area. I'm an ELA teacher and she's a math teacher. Over the years, I've watched Miss Jones take time out of her personal schedule to unofficially mentor and support new teachers as well as students out with her classroom hours. Miss Jones is an exemplary teacher, and losing her from education for even a moment would be a travesty. Thank you.
Thank you. Caitlin Carroll, Eunice Barnum, Winston Seabrooks. Caitlin Carroll, none. Eunice Barnum, Winston Seabrooks, Dagny Thorson.
Good evening, Eunice Barnum. I too feel that the community was left out of a lot of the process. I too would have had as my choice for Remote School Mr. George Maxey. And that's because I've known him to demonstrate love and affection for the children. He was there to help them to correct a wrong, show them how you get it right. And he wasn't there just for their demise. I can truly understand when the other person was speaking about how wonderful a teacher is that shows love. I don't know what it is, that when they can send them to the alternative school, you have no problem with that. They can send them to out of school suspension, fine. But try a little love and tenderness and caring and support the children to be successful. Get them across the finish line. Whoa, let's not do that. Also, the decision has been made, and I just want to say, since the decision was made, then the only thing we can do is hold the ones responsible accountable. My second question, what did you all do differently this year to pull the fourth grade students up to first place that you couldn't do all the past years? And it's my understanding you all were not the teachers in the classrooms. Okay. Third, I was called in to a situation at Lake Forest Elementary School where an 8-year-old received a civil citation. And I observed training. And when I heard the superintendent talk about training, yes, definitely training. That issue requires training between the team up staff, JSO, and what their responsibilities are when they enter the public school, who they're supposed to notify, and everybody needs to know what the rules, what the law says, and they need to follow. Thank you.
Thank you. Winston Seabrook, Dagny Thornson, Anya Thornson, Anise Leanna Martin, followed by Miles Dunn, Victor Spencer. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Anise Liana Martin. I am a rising 6th grader at Seaside Charter School, and I think it would be a wonderful idea to continue on to 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And as you guys can see, I am pretty tall, and I used to think that my height was a flaw of mine, but Seaside, they taught me that being tall is a beautiful thing, and I just really want to acknowledge them for making me love myself and pushing me to be a better me. Thank you.
Thank you. Miles Dunn, Victor Spencer, followed by Joanna Ursa. No Mr. Duns? Victor Spencer. Joanna Ursa, followed by Cami Colleen.
Good afternoon, I'm Joanna Orsal, and thank you so much for having me here. I don't want to say anything redundant. I know you've seen the sea, a tie-dyed sea of people supporting and wanting to continue our 6th to 8th grade charter. I'm here as a parent and as an educator. Just a little bit about myself and how it's relevant to what I feel Waldorf and Seaside values align with mine, and as a parent and a teacher. I'm a first-generation Asian American, Filipino American that grew up in the American education system, first generation. So with that background and my background in arts education, going to universities here at in the United States, and moving from the north down to the south, I was very apprehensive of the education system here. I was happy then to find Seaside. I was very selective of the educational approach. So Seaside for me sort of hit everything as a person who is a proponent of play-based, innovative, nature-based, but also very rigorous in their academics. I have been very happy with how all my children who are of mixed heritage have blossomed in that environment. I'm here I want to let you know that this is not only a special school, but a school that I feel every child should have an option to experience, regardless of background. And it was fortunate for us that we were able to experience a community that accepted us. And our motto is everybody belongs, and they really do practice that, I promise. I was in Miami, and all my children got bullied, and so we were very picky about where we were going to go to school. We found Seaside, and I can't tell you enough how much it has helped all of my children with their self-esteem, with their confidence, and me as a single mother, how much they have helped me get through what is a very challenging life, right? To raise 3 children of mixed heritage in this kind of society. Seaside is, in my opinion, a representation of what is and what could be. I'm asking you to give them a chance to show you every potential that they could, that the positive impact they can make for our children and for our community. I know we have a lot of work to do. I believe that the parents and the administration are willing, very willing to go those steps to make that happen. We would love to meet you halfway or over halfway to make that happen. I'm here to speak 1,000% support of a 6th to 8th grade charter, and I hope that you can help us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cami Colleen, Lola Oliveira, Ashley Nebel. Ms. Colleen? Are you Ms. Colleen? No. Okay. Ms. Oliveira, Lola Oliveira.
Lola Oliveri. I just have to get my notes, sorry. Seaside has done nothing but improve my life. I used to come home from school crying and shouting about how I hated learning. This is my old school. Then I transferred to Seaside in 2nd grade. My teacher was kind and the staff too, which was pretty new to me, because I had mostly only encountered teachers who didn't like teaching. But most importantly, I started to love learning. Math was taught in a way that wasn't stressful, art was incorporated into most subjects, and learning was fun. I became a happier person than I was before I came to Seaside. I am now in 6th grade, going into 7th. This past school year has only reinforced my love for learning. Between teachers who are passionate about the subject they teach, interesting classes such as art, music, Chinese, and a loving, powerful community, I have truly learned to love to learn, and only through Seaside Community Charter School could I have done it. Please save my education and my love of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ashley Nebel.
Principal wanted to say that.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Home is what I was going to say.
That's okay. We must continue the process. Thank you. Ashley Nebel. Maggie Venn. Jordan Venn. Tara Vareen. Sean Pfaffman, or Sean Paffman. Amber Sesnick. Mikhail Mahama. Pastor Bertie Vareen. Amanda Miller. Okay, thank you. Well, that concludes the public comment section. Pardon me? Okay, yes, I'm sorry. You didn't come to the microphone. I was. Okay, Pastor Bertie Vareen?
I'm Tara Vareen.
Tara? Okay, I don't have a Tara. I have a Berta.
You called out my name.
Okay, speak. Tell us your name.
Yes, I'm Tara Vareen. I'm the parent of Cameron Vareen that attends Lake Forest Elementary School. There was a recent incident where he received a citation as a 8-year-old, and I feel that we need to incorporate better steps or procedures in line where if something happens at a school that the school officer is contacted before GSO is contacted. And I want to see something in place where if the child receives referrals or any discipline regarding their conduct, that we go beyond just suspending them or doing in-school suspension or kicking them out totally. I would like to see something in place where a community or someone on the outside can step in into the schools to provide better services, counseling, more social activities, like a big brother, big sister, to show that child some support. If they're living in a single parent home, support them more by providing services other than just kicking the kids out of school or suspending them. I would like to see more support given to the school that they can support our children better.
Thank you. I did find your card. Okay, did I miss any speaker? Because yes, please come and
Thank you. My name is Amber Sesnick. I'm here to advocate for the arts in our public schools. We all know the statistics about how the arts support academic growth and test scores. We all know the links between music and math and art and spatial reasoning, about how creativity leads to innovative thought. That's not what I'm going to talk about today. I was more than my test scores when I was a kid, and my children are also more than theirs. I was a student who was saved by the arts. Art, music, drama, literature, movement saved my life. I had a difficult home life growing up. I suffered from anxiety and attention deficit disorder and debilitating introversion. Taking art and music classes at school and being able to bring those skills home with me not only provided me with an outlet, but gave me the tools I needed to deal with difficult emotions and situations that no student is equipped to deal with. The art resources in my schools saved me from drugs, depression, and other self-destructive behavior. Now I have an 11-year-old son who suffers with many of the same issues that I did. I watch him struggle, and I know what the risks are as he enters middle school. I and parents like me need our children to have access to arts education. Children who have access to the arts are more likely to show up at school, to be motivated, and to have good attitudes. They are more likely to learn. The arts teach students about cultures and different ways of experiencing the world. Through this, kids learn that this world is often difficult, but that they are not alone. They learn to not only tolerate, but to embrace different ways of thinking and living and experiencing life. The arts build empathy and respect for differences, and in the end, that is what is going to keep our kids safe. I am asking you to make this a priority because we need our kids and their well-being to be a priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Did I miss any other speakers? Good evening.
My name is Pastor Birdie Vereen, pastor of Gospel Temple Church of God in Christ. I am the grandmother of 8-year-old Cameron Vereen, who was bullied by a 9-year-old at Lake Forest Elementary School on 4/27/2018. After being hit several times, Cameron, the 8-year-old, decided to fight back. He decided to defend himself. In defending himself, the 9-year-old was injured. And of course, we're sorry about the 9-year-old getting injured, but nonetheless, he was injured. JSO was called on 4/30/2018, and to my understanding, JSO, the school, which is Lake Forest, Team Up, did not follow procedure. And these are 9 questions I would like to ask. And I know that you all are not answering questions tonight, but I would like to ask these questions. What are the policy and procedures that JSO must follow when they come to school campus to question a child, an 8-year-old? What are the duties of the resource officers? In the case of 8-year-old Cameron Vereen, when should the SRO step in? Should Team Up have been notified? Should they have notified the resource officers of the after-school incident that occurred on 4/27/2018? And if not, why? Did 8-year-old Cameron have a right not to speak to JSO? Did the assistant principal have the right to take Cameron in a room with an officer that he was afraid of? Did the school have a right to make Cameron, 8-year-old Cameron, speak without parental consent. If DCPS had a right to contact the parent and grandparent, why not? My ninth question, if you believe that you had control over Cameron's life, who is going to restore him now that he's been injured? Who is going to make him whole again? Who protected Cameron? Who protected his rights on 430 and 51 in the custody of Lake Forest Elementary School when they fingerprinted him? Where was his rights? Where was his rights? Now Cameron thinks that he cannot defend himself. If he defends himself, he feels that he's going to be punished. He feels that they're going to give him a citation, in which they did. He feels that he's going to be fingerprinted. And I want to let you all know that after they fingerprinted him, he was so afraid that he threw up all over himself. How do we restore Cameron, the 8-year-old Cameron? How can we restore his faith?
Thank you.
JSO.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much.
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to make certain that as I read the names, there are no other persons whose name I read.
Last but not least,
What's your name, sir, please?
Madam Chair.
Minister Mikhail Muhammad.
Hold on just a second, please. Yes, sir. Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that someone will be talking.
Yes, someone. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I'm an advocate in the black community. In the last part of April, I was contacted by the family of Cameron Vereen. I'm the leader of Organized Unity Coalition and a leader in the new Black Panther Party. It's very troubling that the police were able to come on campus without the mother being called. I witnessed tonight, you know, you all giving yourself credit for an educational system that is definitely a failure. And every one of you all that sit here is complicit in destruction of black boys in the city of Jacksonville, Duval County. The black community in itself should not continue to send our children to a school system that we fund with our taxpayers' money that destroys our young men, that aids them and sends them to prison and to jails. How can we continue to believe in a system, send our children to institutions where they're failing daily? It's very disturbing. 8 years old, as a child, I fought in school occasionally. I never saw a police officer. It wasn't that serious. When police are required to come to school, they are cowards, many of them, but they don't have a problem terrorizing our young men. So, Ms. Willis, I hate to rain on your parade, but you preside over one of the worst school systems in the United States. Have a good evening.
Thank you for your words. Yeah, he did. Yeah. So I just wanted to make certain as I ran through the names, because I want everybody who filled out a card to have an opportunity, because it seems they got out of order. So just want to make certain that there is no one sitting in the audience whose name I called based on the cards who would like to speak. Thank you so much. I know that it is our custom that we not comment after public comments, but in terms of Seaside, I think that we need to have a context about Seaside charter schools so that the public understands. And one of the things that I would like to ask Madam Superintendent is that what we heard a lot tonight from our Seaside commentators is that the board, there's something before the board. There's an agenda item before the board referencing Seaside to turn it into a 6 to 8 charter school. Is there such an item before the board?
Madam Chair, currently there is not an item before the board to add additional grade levels to Seaside. We have, as a matter of fact, Seaside K through 5 has been moved to the July agenda. I know that there is an express intent to add the additional grade levels, but there are processes and procedures by which apparently there is some miscommunication, and that is why we have the meeting tomorrow to continue the conversation, to assure that we all understand and we are all on the same page as to how we get the additional grade levels extended for the school. But currently, there is no item before the board for Seaside K through 8.
Thank you. And another question, I think it's important that the public understands that when we're talking about a process in terms of initiatives from charter schools, that there's a process to be followed. And at this time, as I look at this memo, that the district followed the process. So if you would explain to the public why we heard these comments tonight from Seaside, so that we're all on, the public listening would then understand what has happened and what the more specifically in terms of your conversation with administrators on tomorrow.
Madam Chair, it is our hope that we are able to revisit this whole process for the requests for Seaside K through 5 to add the extended grades. Seaside K through 5 actually came to our board in 2017, and I believe that it was at, and I'm going to ask Ms. Chastain to chime in if I get those dates wrong, but came with a renewal request to the board to add the 6 through 8. And it is my understanding they believe through the renewal process they could request to add the K through, to make it a K through 8. In the contract, it states that in order to add the 6 through 8 to the elementary school, you would need to submit a new contract. Our staff worked with Seaside because they did indeed write a communication to us back in September saying that that was their intent to add the 6 through 8. We informed them by the choice office that what they would need to do is to, by February 1st, I believe is the date, that they needed to submit a new contract for the board to consider to add the grades. They did submit a renewal application and wanted to add those to the renewal. Because the contract says it has to be a new contract, it is a new contract that we would need to work with. And so the board did approve, however, in March 6th, the K through 5 request for a 10-year contract for Seaside K through 5, but it didn't have the grades added to it. So in order to work with this board, and as a matter of fact, last year, when Seaside brought us San Jose, Seaside, there was a concession made so the students who were moving up, rolling up to 6 at that time would be able to, they actually were the San Jose 6th graders because that is where their middle school is. But in the contract, there's a language that says that they had 1 year that these students could actually stay at the beaches, Seaside. And that was the language in the contract. And that at renewal time, a new contract would be extended so that we could consider it under a new contract. It was submitted, I believe, under renewal, and that wasn't the process. So we are just gonna, we need to work so that we all get the process right to work with the school and the students.
Okay, so I just wanted people, the public to understand that there was nothing before the board, and that in the last, since March 27, 17, there was a lot of information and dates given by district staff sharing that Seaside had to complete a new application if they wanted to include grades 6 through 8. That was not done by Seaside. So now Seaside still wants to roll forward for the upcoming school year 6 through 8, but they did not follow the process. It puts the district in a precarious situation if we do something different for one school versus another. And I want to ask Ms. Chastain, in terms of the state's statutes and the state's role, is that a decision that the district makes in terms of the application, or is that a state requirement?
Good evening, Madam Chairman. So if I understand your question, if you submit an application for a new school, which the 6 through 8 would be a new application for a new school, that's dictated by state statute. The application form is standard, the evaluation instrument is standard, and there are deadlines to receive applications and deadlines for the district to review the application and recommend approval or denial. And then if it's denied, the application, then the applicant has appeal rights as prescribed within the statute to go to the Charter School Appeals Commission and ultimately the State Board of Education and ultimately to the First District Court of Appeal if it keeps going that far. So the application process is very well defined in state statute. If it's to amend a contract, and an amendment would be basically anything, increase the enrollment cap, or in this case add grades, the statutes don't speak to that. So there is not a statutorily defined process, which means it's purely discretionary, and so you don't, there aren't remedies prescribed in the statute if the request is made and it doesn't move forward. In other words, you're outside of a defined process. Does that answer your question?
It does, and let me ask one final question. Had the application been completed by Seaside, where would we be? Or where would Seaside be?
When the district receives any application, it does, and it's obligated to review that application, and working with the applicant, sometimes they withdraw and it doesn't come to the board, or sometimes it does come to the board either in the form of a recommendation by the superintendent to the board to approve the application or to deny the application. But stated another way, there would be something through the superintendent to the board to act upon, unless of course the applicant withdraws. They're not mandated to, finish the process if the applicant chooses not to do so. But by submitting an application, you trigger a chain of events and actions that must occur.
So I just want to make certain that the public understood that there's nothing before this board to act upon, and we heard a lot asking the board tonight to approve something. There's nothing before us at this meeting to approve. And the application is a process that every charter school must adhere to. And the application and the following of rules and processes equalizes intentions. So if we all follow the rules and processes, we're all have a happier ending. And I just wanted to clear that up. There's nothing before the board to act upon for in particular for the public to understand, so that it makes sense in terms of what was being said tonight. At this time, we will have comments from employee organizations. I see Mr. Stovall, Chris Stovall, President, IBEW. Excuse me, Mr. Stovall, I jumped ahead. It's parent organizations. It's the parent organizations, I'm so sorry. Ms. Tutt, Felita Tutt, District Council PTA President.
Good evening, Dr. Willis and school board members. Felita Tutt, Duval County Council PTA President. I personally want to once again say thank you for all of your support. Anytime I email, call, you respond. So thank you, for everything that you've done to help counsel with Duval County PTAs. We had a recognition for Ms. Couch, but she's not here tonight. So we will take care of that later. Council is still busy all summer. We will be attending the National Convention in New Orleans and then the State Convention in Tampa this summer. So we will continue to advocate and fight for all children. And that's all I have for this evening. But again, Dr. Willis, and I want to also thank you for allowing me to be on the superintendent search, not the search, the focus group. I've had several people to ask me, what do you think of the new superintendent? And I said, I hope she's like Dr. Willis. And I really mean that. From my experience that you've given us, Duval County Council PTA, we really, really appreciate everything that you and this board have done for us. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hawk, Michael Hawk, District Advisory Council Chairman.
Chairperson Wright, Superintendent Willis, honorable members of the board, I am Michael J. Hawk, District Advisory Council Chairperson. This is a report from our June 4th, 2018 meeting. We were honored with the presence of the board member known as Mr. Warren Jones. He thanked us for our service as SACS, ACS, and DACS, or that is School Advisory Council, Area Advisory Councils, and the District Advisory Council. He let us know that we were appreciated. He also informed us about Dr. Green, that she had accepted the contract and that there would be a transition period between her and Dr. Willis starting July the 1st. From there, the bulk of our meeting was filled with celebrations from around the district concerning graduations, end of the year performances, and retirements, and also that bittersweet news of position change. One that touched us dearly was Dr. Bostic being moved from West Side to Ribault. Other celebrations of note were at Mandarin High School. They had two valedictorians who happened to be best friends from, I believe, grade school all the way through high school, who had the identical grades, and they both gave excellent speeches, and I understand they'll be attending the same college. Robert E. Lee High School garnered $8 million in scholarships distributed throughout all of the students that graduated this year. Paxson had two graduating students with perfect attendance. I can't believe it. From pre-K through the 12th grade. And La Villa had 12 students who received major scholarships from major dance companies. With that being said, I would like to thank each and every member of the board. We really appreciate each visit. You've been informative, insightful, knowledgeable, humorous, and caring. Dr. Willis, I want to thank you for the time that you made for me each month that we met. I know you're a busy person, and I do deeply appreciate you taking time out of your schedule for us to meet. Also, would like to thank Mr. Campese, who took me by the hand and walked me through this process of being the District Advisory Council Chair. I'd like to thank Ms. Harrison, who kept me on point on so many things. I'd definitely like to thank Dr. Krisner, who had the ability to get different members from the district to attend the meetings and to give us so much information that was truly amazing. I'd like to thank Mr. Mack. His encouragement kept me going. I thank also Mr. Don Redmond, the Vice Chair, and Mr. William Frank Nettles, our Secretary. I'd just like to say that I've counted it a privilege and an honor to have served as the 2017-2018 District Advisory Council Chairperson. Thank you. You guys have a great summer, and we'll see what happens next year.
Thank you.
That doesn't mean you're going away, right?
It's all up to the vote.
Okay, and now comments from employee organizations. Chris Stovall, President, IBEW.
I'm actually no longer president, but I appreciate that.
Okay.
Madam Chairwoman, distinguished members of the board, Superintendent Willis. As a parent of 4 Duval County school students and a union rep, I think just like everyone else that's involved in the public school system, I'm distressed by the announcement of cutbacks for the next year, and who knows how much longer beyond that. The state legislature claims that unions, the media, and school districts are lying when we claim that there's only received a 47-cent increase, but PolitiFact has investigated and ruled that after you unwind all of their convoluted mathematics, those legislators are the ones whose pants are on fire, to use a PolitiFact phrase. As usual, one of the chief culprits in the budget shortfall is that we're allowing our tax dollars to be siphoned off to private education and charter schools that are not subjected to the same scrutiny or even oversight as our public schools. If these schools are so great, why aren't they able to stand on their own without leeching from the public school system? If they're so great, let them stand on their own, take the same tests, be held to the same accountability, and see if they succeed. While some of them are good schools, many are failing, even with the blank check and Wild West regulations that we've seen all over the state and even here in Duval. On that subject of accountability and budget, I want to talk to you again about the cost of subcontracting versus the cost associated with self-performing the work that our maintenance people do here in Duval County Public Schools. By trade, I'm an electrician, so I just kind of picked out the electricians for my example here. But the average wage of one of our electricians here at Duval County Public Schools maintenance is $23.13 an hour. That's if you average in electricians that have been here 30 years all the way up to the newest hires. And if we hired any more at the current paltry starting wage of $18.75, that would come down even more. But that average amount is about $4 an hour less than the Department of Labor prevailing wage for an electrician here in Florida. And that doesn't even require a journeyman's license like our electricians here at Duval County Schools are required to have. It also doesn't include the contractor markup and the oversight necessary by the board to make sure the contractors are playing by the rules. On that subject, last year we pulled the records for one electrical contractor who I'm not going to name because it's not important, during an investigation of an unrelated matter. And I use those numbers and records today to find dozens of failed inspections for things like no ground fault outlets in kitchen area, a box so close to the light fixture that you couldn't remove the lens, panel feeds incorrectly sized, the main breaker not bolted into the panel, unable to shut off power to a hood vent, no exit signs installed per drawing. I'd like to mention that the work order they were doing was install exit signs, by the way. Panel not fused and incorrectly grounded, fire alarm strobe installed behind door, fire alarm not programmed right. You get my point here. If my members, by the way, the following year, that contractor got another $6.9 million in board work, I want to add, by the way, even after that. If my members had made the kind of mistakes that were found in those inspections, they would have been fired. If they had made them in the quantities found, it would have been enough to fire every single electrician we employ, hire a couple of dozen more, and then fire them as well. But the system we utilize doesn't take that into account, and it allows them to fix their mistakes and move on. Unlike our craftsmen, the workers doing this work for subcontractors are also not required to have journeyman's licenses from the county of Duval. They're only required to have a master's license for the owner or one person in the company. They're not held to the same quality, safety, licensing, training, or even disciplinary standards as our employees. Yet the lion's share of the work in our district lately seems to be going more and more to private contractors. Please consider this as we move forward, as our employees are doing great work for less than they're worth because they love what they do here. In the future, if there's a choice of in-house or subcontracting and budget concerns, please choose to support our employees. I have one last thing. Upon reviewing last month's presentation by Superintendent Dr. Willis, titled Navigating Funding Challenges of the 2018-19 Budget, I was a little disturbed to realize that I missed something that night. The first couple of slides, I think it was actually the second slide in her presentation about the budget shortfall, identified a projected $6.5 million increase for wage and benefit increases. It went on to show in the graphic where all $6.5 million of that money was removed or deleted, had a big minus with an X through it or whatever. In the face of ongoing contract negotiations with several employee organizations, I feel that graphic flew in the face of good faith bargaining and negotiations, maybe even perk rules, when you've come out of the gate leading the public to believe there'll be no wage or benefit increases. For what it's worth, that same graphic mentioned an anticipated $4.2 million increase to charter schools, but there was no reference to cutting that funding. I'm not standing here accusing that Dr. Willis meant it the way that it looked. I don't. And I understand the budget crisis is creating issues that'll be hard to address. I get that. I just would like to ask in the future maybe to look a little closer at those kind of things when we put them out there, because I got a lot of phone calls from my members over the next few days that caught that when I didn't. So thank you guys for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you. I see no other representative from employee organizations. Approval of minutes. That the Duval County School Board approve the minutes for the meetings listed in the agenda item. April 17th, 2018 Board Workshop and Committee Meeting. April 23rd, 2018 Special Board Meeting. April 23rd, 2018 Board Workshop. April 26th, 2018 Board Workshop. April 26th, 2018 Litigation Shade Meeting. May 3rd, 2018 Focus Group Orientation. May 8th, 2018 Special Board Meeting. May 8th, 2018 Audit Committee Meeting. May 8th, 2018 Focus Group Orientation. May 9th, 2018 Student Expulsion Hearings. May 14th, 2018 Special Board Meeting Final Orders. May 15th, 2018 Board Workshop and Committee Meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
The motion was moved by Board Member Smith Juarez and seconded by Vice Chair Hershey. Any discussion? Hearing none, please register your vote.
Wasn't that you?
Pardon? Please register your vote.
I thought he seconded it.
By your actions, you have approved this item 6-0. Unanimous vote. Approval of consent agenda. Are there any board members who have items to return to the consent? Okay. Are there any items to be placed on the discussion agenda? Ms. Hershey?
I have one. I would like to place Somerset on consent with comments.
It's on there.
Is it on there?
It's on-
Okay.
It's already on there, okay. So we have no action for approval of consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The motion was moved by Board Member Grimes and seconded by Board Member Shine. Any discussion? Seeing none, please register your vote. By your actions, you have approved this item 6-0 with a unanimous vote. Consent with comments. School choice and pupil assignments. Charter school contract for Somerset Academy, Inc., doing business as Somerset Preparatory Academy. Board Member Hershey, Vice Chair Hershey.
I have a couple of questions for this. One is, could we review the information for Somerset's track record in Duval County, their grades? What have been their grades for the past few years? For the chair superintendent.
Through the chair to Vice Chair Hershey. Somerset's academic record over the past 5 years, 2013-14, the grade was an F. 14-15 D, 15-16 D, 16-17 D. And of course, we don't have the grade currently for this year yet.
If this was a traditional public school, would this be placed on the turnaround list?
Yes, it would be a part of our turnaround schools.
Okay. So is this the reason that we're only offering a 1-year contract for Somerset? And then if so, what would prohibit us from extending that contract the following year for the 2019-2020 school year?
This is the reason that we recommended the board a 1-year contract, because of the academic record of the school. And and I think you said the last part of your question was, what would
depending upon their grade, then would it not be recommended to be renewed in the future?
If their grade does not improve, we extend it to the 1-year contract. If we don't see an approval, and I would believe that our staff's recommendation and the superintendent's recommendation would present to you that we had already extended 1 year, we don't see an improvement in the academics, and probably would not have a recommendation for the board to approve it.
So given this information, Somerset has been approved as a School of Hope operator in the state of Florida, correct?
It has.
So how did it qualify as a School of Hope operator with this track record?
So the track record doesn't look solely at one school district, and because Somerset has higher performing charter schools in South Florida and in other states, I believe the state looks at the overall performance of this charter, and that is how I would assume they got the approval from the state to be a Schools of Hope operator.
Okay, and I just have one more question. Is Somerset a for-profit, managed by a for-profit operator?
It is managed by the educational service provider Academica, and it is for-profit.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I just feel like that as a board, we're the guardians of public education, and that we really need to pay attention to the charter schools and hold them to the same standard that we hold our traditional schools to. Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. Discussion agenda. Selection of representative for Florida School Boards Association Legislative Committee. That the Duval County School Board members select a board member and an alternate to serve on the Florida School Boards Association Legislative Committee for 2018-2019. Board Member Grimes.
Yes, Madam Chair, I would like to, can we do this together, or does it have to be separate?
We can do it together.
Okay. I would like to nominate Ms. Hershey and for the
representative?
Yes. And Mr. Jones for the alternative when Ms. Hershey can't be there.
Second.
Okay. The motion is that Board Vice Chair Hershey serve as the legislative representative, and that Board Member Jones serve as the legislative alternate representative. And it was moved by Board Member Grimes and seconded by Board Member Shine. Any discussion?
My only discussion is that because Ms. Grimes made the motion, and I tried to second as the board members who will be here for the rest of the year, that you're not allowed to decline.
They did this joyously. I mean, they were really excited about the opportunity.
We saw the increase in the salary. We just
couldn't resist.
Thank you for accepting the volunteer position.
So please, seeing no additional discussion, please register your vote. By your actions, you have unanimously passed this item, 6-0. Public hearing and vote. Approval of revisions to Chapter 2 board policies. That the Duval County School Board conduct a public hearing and adopt recommended revisions to the following policies in School Board Manual, Chapter 2. Policy 2.22, Board Member Request for Information. Policy 2.27, Schedule for Legal Advertisements. Policy 2.31, Board Member Use of Procurement Card. Policy 2.36, Arts Advisory Council. Dr. Willis, is this your recommendation?
This is my recommendation.
At this time, I open the public hearing. Is there anyone in the public who wish to address us tonight on this public hearing? Seeing none, I close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move the item.
Second.
The motion was moved by Board Member Shine and seconded by Board Member Jones. Are there any board members wishing to speak? Seeing none, please register your vote. By your actions, you have unanimously approved this item 6-0. Board member travel, that the Duval County School Board approve the following board member travel. July 19th through the 25th, 28th, these are dates, revised dates: Anchorage, Alaska, Council of Great City Schools, Executive Committee meeting, Wright. October 8th through the 12th, 2018, Denver, Colorado, Jacksonville Chamber Leadership Trip, Grimes, Hershey, Wright. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The motion was moved by Board Member Grimes and seconded by Board Member Jones. Any discussion? Seeing none, please register your vote.
Somebody waiting on me.
Madam Chair, the item passed, 6-0.
Thank you. By your actions, you have approved this item. Superintendent travel, that the Duval County School Board approve the following superintendent travel: June 13th, 2018, Tampa, Florida, 2018 Commissioners Business Recognition Awards. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The motion was moved by Board Member Grimes and seconded by Board Member Smith Juarez. Any discussion? Seeing none, please register your vote. By your actions, you have unanimously passed this item 6-0. We are now on For the Record. Ms. Smith Juarez.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to, again, congratulate all of the graduates of Duval County Public Schools this year. There were too many accolades to try to name all of them or even most of them, but we continue to be so proud of our graduates. And as I talked with principals, I know that they are calculating down to the minute in terms of what they can do to help support children, help work with them, and help make certain that they walk across the stage receiving a diploma from Duval County Public Schools. So I want to thank our principals, our teachers, all of our district administrative staff, and everyone who helps contribute not just to that culminating year in their senior year, but the entire educational continuum for our students. I hope that everyone has an enjoyable summer after a long year. Remember to read, visit your public library, get out and utilize our parks and find educational opportunities throughout the summer. I do want to this evening, in addition to those congratulations and thanks to all of our staff, just read into the record, an email that was sent to the board from the superintendent regarding the recommendation and proposal for our art, music, and PE classes. We continue to value art, music, and PE, and I'll speak for myself as a board member, knowing that these resources and other elective opportunities for our students contribute to a well-rounded education, contribute to the academic and non-academic, the social learning, the emotional learning that goes on in our schools, and we've had that conversation as a board. So for the record, in the new proposal, all students will have art, music, and physical education from the physical education or arts area resource teacher, an average of 45 minutes per week. That's each area, 45 minutes per week. Some schools are opting to have longer class periods scheduled less frequently. For example, 90-minute class periods scheduled on alternating weeks. As stated at the board meeting, this means that some of the students in our schools will get these resources more often. So and I'm deviating from the email now, but as full-time staff were assigned to each school and you had larger schools and smaller schools with the same staffing, this rotation was much more difficult. So some students more often, and some who were receiving services more than once a week will receive them less frequently based on school size and school-based scheduling decisions. Another important point is that our elementary teachers, many of them are certified to teach art, music, and physical education as well as their grade level area, and many do ensure a well-rounded program during the classroom learning day. So I think, again, that for the record, that it is important that I, as a board member, and the superintendent's recommendation continues to value art, music, and PE. This is a redistribution of resources for a more consistent experience for children in our elementary schools. Thank you to the superintendent, and thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Smith-Juarez. Ms. Grimes.
Well, that was a lead. I'm just sitting down here really quiet, and all of a sudden wait a minute, I'm not ready. You did that on purpose. I too have to echo what my colleague has talked about as far as all the celebrations. Obviously, we were celebrating and graduating and awarding, and it was all very, very positive stuff. Since I only have one high school in my district, y'all are going to get some stats that you're going to be very, 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 very pleased with. So Terry Parker, this year they graduated 439 kids. That is the highest number for quite a while for Terry Parker. Their grad rate is approaching 93%. The college acceptance letters, 355 received a college acceptance and or military. They earned $6,134,305 scholarship money. Post-secondary reading in math and reading, 317 seniors. We had 188 seniors with a GPA of 3.5 or higher, and 128 with 4.5 and higher. Also, the kids did over 20,000 hours in volunteer work, and they were also very active in the athletics portion of school, and just did, great jobs all around. So I want to thank our principal and Megan Pardue, and also everyone else that helps her, because high schools are, I know, a big thing to make sure you're lots to do with it. I also, being at the graduation, I the person that I think I probably give a lot of kudos is the person who is tapped by the principal to do the graduation and make sure that everybody's in their place. And I know it's very, very stressful for them. And so I think they probably are the unsung hero, because I mean, every one of them, and I don't blame them, they want it to be perfect. But I really do appreciate what they do. And I have to appreciate the cabinet too. Y'all have just done yeoman's work this year. And I think we've come a long way in lots of areas. And I know a lot of that I have to give to our leader, because I think you have helped make that happen. And I too want everyone to have a great summer and enjoy yourself and come back refreshed. All of our teachers, I hope you take some time for yourself. All of our employees, I hope you take some time for yourself, and good work.
Thank you. Ms. Grimes, Board Member Jones.
I too want to congratulate all the 2018 graduating seniors. I have 4 high schools, attended all 4 graduations, starting with Raines, Frank H. Peterson, Paxson, and ending up with Westside. And the beauty of it is that out of those 4 schools, the lowest graduation rate was 92%. It ranged from 92% to 100%, assuming Paxson get that one last student. And I think that's a compliment and a reflection of what this board, Dr. Willis, and the cabinet has done in making sure that we graduate our kids. And the chamber, the business community, everyone should be excited about those rates. It hasn't always been that way, but we're improving, and hopefully we'll get over that 80.8% graduation rate this year. Also, I attended, unfortunately, only one academic signing day, thanks to our chairperson's scheduling the interviews with the finalists for the superintendent. And I told Dr. Turner that don't let other principals know that I didn't attend theirs because I couldn't. He was the only one I could attend. And they had 2 students who got $300,000 scholarships to attend Notre Dame. And although they asked everyone to refrain from applauding, of course they did when they heard those 2. That was outstanding. And one got a $187,000 scholarship to Yale. So all in all, we've done an outstanding job this year, and I just want to thank the board and the staff for what you've done, because those students were very excited to walk across that stage and get a high school diploma and not a certificate of attendance. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Board Member Jones. Vice Chair Hershey.
You are really skipping around. I thought.
She's trying to get us.
I know. Thank you. I have to say too that I never tire of hearing the graduation march, and while I have 2 schools in my district, I did make it to 5 graduations. Mr. Jones, I think you forgot to mention the pretrial graduation that we both attended, which was very meaningful as well. Saturday, I got to have the opportunity to attend Loretto Elementary's 75th birthday celebration, and of course Dr. Willis was there. And of course, people were stopping her and telling her, you know, thank you and great things. But one of the highlights of being at Loretto's celebration on Saturday was I met former Mandarin board member Dr. Bosworth was there, and that was a neat. He represented Mandarin in the '80s, and that was a really neat opportunity. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to attend Dr. Richardson's retirement celebration. I believe she had 35 or 37 years of service to the district. 9 of those were spent as principal at Mandarin High School. She started so many traditions at Mandarin High School that are now just part of the very fabric of the culture there. She is certainly a leader who would ask questions like, why doesn't this happen? And then she had the answer. One of the things, little known fact that people may not know, is that she asked the question, why doesn't Mandarin High School have a school song? And so she wrote one. So anyway, it was to the tune of Edelweiss, and that's kind of a neat legacy that she leaves there. So I appreciate Dr. Richardson's service and contribution to not only the district but to Mandarin High School.
Thank you. Mr. Shai.
Thank you. I have nothing to add. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I want to certainly congratulate the class of 2018. There were so many accomplishments, and you know, I was just touched being that this is my last year as a board member to attend graduations, and I have 6 high schools, and I attended those 6 as well as the virtual school, and I was just honored to be able to see the progress our students are making. Within the entire district, we have at this point $92 million+ in scholarships, and we're still waiting because some students have not decided where they're going to go and haven't completed the FAFSA, and so we're hoping to get to that $100 million for the end of the year, school year. And I'm just honored to be a part of a team that focuses on children, that focuses on truly reaching in and out to collaborate so that we do the very best that we can do for children. I certainly want to thank the staff that's sitting before us, the leadership team, and all the principals and teachers and support staff, parents, students, and we certainly hope that the students have a fun summer, but one that is that includes a lot of reading and learning, and so that we can diminish or decrease the learning loss over the summer for so many students not engaging in academic activities. I want to take this opportunity to thank Reverend Tad Corley. Reverend Corley sends the board a first Monday prayer every first Monday. And for me, Reverend Corley, your prayer has come at some very trying times for me and spoke directly to me. I was like, oh, this is, for me. But I'm also remembering something that you said at the prayer, the National Prayer Day that you had. And you said that you have been praying for 10 years that Duval County become recognized nationally for its academics. And you shared at that meeting at the prayer day at City Hall regarding, you asked Dr. Willis to share about the NAEP scores, and you said you've been praying for 10 years, and we're there. And with that, I want to say to Mr. Mikhail Muhammad, who stood at that microphone tonight and said that this system was a failing system. I don't accept that, Mr. Muhammad. I want to accept it for the board, for the superintendent, for all of our employees, but most importantly, for our children. Nobody would stand at that microphone and say that this is a failing system, because that means our children are failing, and we don't have failing children. And I'm going to remind anyone who says they're for children and they're for the community that when you speak negative words, remember that children hear those words. So we lift up our children. We work with our children. We encourage our children. We love on our children. And we open these buildings each and every day for 180 days so that our children can learn and grow. Now, does every child grow to the extent that each teacher wants? I say not. But that does not equate to a failing system. That does not equate to a failing community. Not only do we not have a failing school system, we do not have a failing community. I will not accept that from anybody, especially in the Duval County School Board meeting at that microphone. Our children deserve better. And I say to our children, you walk, you hold your head up, you continue to do the great work, you continue to read, you continue to do your math, you continue to study, and you continue to become the very best that you can become. You have examples. You heard something that Dr. Willis said today, that she grew up on the east side. Now she's the superintendent of the school system that educated her, that prepared her to walk into that seat. And though she didn't dream that, she should have had the opportunity. It should have been a natural to dream to become whatever role you want to become. And so I say to our children on this night, not only are you precious, you are talented, you are skillful, and you can achieve any goals. And you just turn your ears the other way when you hear others speak negative of you. Don't receive it. Because by the fact that we're a B school, we're not a failing district. And I'll say to Mr. Muhammad, give me a call. Let me sit down and share with you that for 92, that so far this district, in terms of scholarships, our students for 2018 have received $92 million. In District 4, $25 million. $25 million of those $92 million are in District 4, the children that you thought you were talking about tonight. So please be careful with words, because our children receive that. And with that, I'm gonna leave that alone and I'm gonna move on. But I was just so disturbed by that. I will not accept that type of language about our children being a part of a failing anything. Want to say that in terms of arts and PE dollars, in a few words, arts and PE dollars have simply been equalized so that each school receives the same amount in terms of time. I want to wish everyone a very happy, peaceful, productive, and enjoyable summer. And with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
The motion was moved by Board Member Grimes, seconded by Vice Chair Hershey. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, meeting adjourned.